the strongest technician of the Hidden Sand Village. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176, Gaara is born. Although the drastic changes in the Iroquois family caused a huge shock among the village's senior officials, it seemed to not cause a single ripple among ordinary civilians, because now they pay more attention to a series of people's livelihood activities in Sunagakure. For example, this time Shiraishi created a new barrier to completely isolate the wind and sand in the Sunagakure village. Although the climate and temperature in the Oasis Ring area are relatively better than those in the old Sunagakure village, the sand and dust problem has always troubled the villagers. In order to improve the living environment of the people in the village, Shiraishi built huge metal pyramids, which absorb sunlight energy and convert it into special purified airflow. At the same time, relying on electromagnetic isolation, the air circulation in this enchantment can achieve self-circulation under the dazzling electromagnetic light. A large number of silver pyramids were arranged around the entire Shinsa hidden village, and special golden detection towers were also built to monitor external conditions and changes. These electromagnetic systems are connected with the Whitestone supercomputing center deep underground to form a very strict monitoring system. Most of Shiraishi's puppets are working here, performing various tasks for the entire core supercomputing center. The consciousnesses are all connected to each other and linked to Shiraishi's mastermind. In this way, when dealing with a large amount of Sunagakure's daily work, Shiraishi can process affairs and analysis faster and can effectively complete these contents. World Food Conference. In the huge conference room of Sunagakure's high-rise, a huge food festival project to be held in Sunagakure village was spread out in front of several elders. The food conference promoted by Shiraishi suddenly made Sunagakure's senior management a little unsure of Kazekage-sama's thinking, because inviting countries to participate in the food conference at this time seemed to be a bit of a fuss. Although there have always been various food events in the ninja world in the past, it is a bit unreasonable for Sunagakure Chimura to fully promote such a food conference. Most of these foods are based on tree fruits. Does Kazekage-sama plan to promote tree fruits more deeply? Although the fruits of the Kingdom of Wind have successfully entered the circles of nobles in various countries over the years and become a unique and delicious fruit. In addition to these fruits with excellent taste, there are also many fruits with unique flavors that are suitable as spice fruits that need to be promoted. In addition, a batch of tree fruits with certain medical effects also need to find a dumping market. Fruit trees have a very strong ability to survive in the Kingdom of Wind. Within a few years, they have taken root in many areas of the country of wind. Some high quality land similar to the Oasis Ring area has also been gradually developed due to tree fruit problems. Seeing that no other high level officials had any objections, Ibizo coughed lightly. In addition to promoting fruit trees, you also invited shipping tycoons from various countries to this food festival. Even some local tycoons in the Land of Waves are on the invitation list. After the Iroquois family was uprooted, Shiraishi took over these industries and began planning issues related to maritime trade. The subsequent sea train plan needs to be promoted step by step, and contacting giants in related industries in various countries is related to this. On the other hand, it also promotes the unique culture of Sunagakure to various countries. For this reason, Shiraishi also specially designed several special desserts and ingredients. Shiraishi's proposal was passed with almost no obstacles. Except for a few senior elders, most of the conference room followed Shiraishi's strategy without any objection. Gagliu Eluo went into labor early. After the meeting, Shiraishi received some bad news. Garyuro gave birth early, but her physical condition was deteriorating rapidly. Now, my sister is doing her best to save the child. Grandma Chiyo means to keep the child. Ibizo sighed when he mentioned this matter. Garuru's condition can't be sustained for much longer. It's better to just save the child. After all, he is the most suitable being to be a one-tailed Jinchuriki. In order to reproduce the descendants of the Rata bloodline in the past few years, Giruro gave birth to 2 children, Temari and Kankuro, 2 years in a row. Now with the addition of the third child, it was already beyond the limit of her body's endurance point. In addition, Shukaku was sealed in the third child, so Giroro was also tortured. Ibizo's words made Shiraishi calm down for a while. Although Giroro had been far away from him over the years, she was Yoshamaru's sister after all, and she had taken a lot of care of him in the past. The reality was too cruel. Gaara himself also hopes to protect this child and name him Gaara. Halfway there, Shiraishi waved his hand gently. I respect Sister Giroro's choice. At the gate of the medical class, he saw Asa and Yoshamaru with anxious faces. Shiraishi couldn't help but be in a trance for a moment. He had been hostile to Ratsa for so long, and this was the first time he saw Ratsa like this. Now Alyosha is just a husband who cares about his wife's safety. Ratsa, who has resigned from the position of Kazekage, pays more attention to the relatives around him than before. This time when Giroro's accident happened, Rasa felt more pain in her heart than anyone else. During this period, Jounin was also pregnant with her own child. Shiraishi could completely understand Alyosha's current mood. Everything will get better. Looking at Shiraishi, who was wearing Feng'ing costume in front of him, Alyosha's eyes were very complicated. Thank you. The group of people entered the delivery room and found that Gaara was holding a very young Gaara and protecting him. At the same time, he gently poured part of his chakra into the baby. Shiraishi stepped forward to check and found that, although Gaara was now thin, he was indeed born with excellence and control physique, and was most suitable to become the Jinkriki of the one-tailed Shukaku. As for Giroro, Shiraishi's hand produced a soft light, trying to slow down the loss of Giroro's life, but it only made Giroro less uncomfortable. Kazekage-sama, this child, Ratsa, has stepped down. reading www.uakunshu.net, but his child has become a Jinkriki. This matter is very sensitive. Seeing the Kazekage appear, Giroro got up with great difficulty. He wanted to say something, but was stopped by Shiraishi. This child will be my personal disciple in the future, and I will teach him how to harness and control the power of the tailed beast. Shiraishi's promise made Giroro breathe a sigh of relief. Soon she was gasping for air and looked at the child in front of her with great difficulty, her eyes full of reluctance and nostalgia. There is nothing better than this in terms of human relations and family ties. Ibizo and Shio looked at each other, acquiescing to Shiraishi's future acceptance of Gaara as a disciple, and even Ratsa was thinking about the significance of this matter. Now the Kazekage group is drastically dismantling the aristocratic system of Sunagakure's old era, although it can advance smoothly by relying on Shiraishi's strength. After all, people's hearts are unstable and some disturbances are prone to occur. Accepting a child from the three Shadun lineages as a direct disciple sends a signal to appease each family, which is of great symbolic significance. This child will be a balance point and buffer, filling the gap created by Sunagakure. Now, Chapter 177, Dark Red Grade Card. NBSP. Nan country is a small island country located in the Southern Sea. It has a pleasant climate and abundant crops. Several ninja wars have not affected this island country. Currently, under the management of the Kingdom of Wind, Nan country is prosperous. The core governance seat of the entire island country is the Tokari Mansion located in the center of the island. The Tokari clan established its power and is currently the only blood family in Kusuno country, firmly controlling the island's huge economic lifeline. After Sunagakure took control of Kusuno country, the Togakure clan was still the largest local force on the island and was in a state of cooperation with Sunagakure village. A large number of hot springs and casinos have been opened around Tokari Mansion, forming an economic industry and creating a prosperous island scene. Some time ago, Shiraishi was in charge of the Kazekage ceremony, and the Tokage clan also sent envoys to observe, showing the current harmonious scene between the local forces of Kusuno country and the foreign Sunagakure forces. But all this was broken with the opening of a ninja school branch by Shiraishi. There are currently 3 ninja schools in the Kingdom of Wind. The first is a public ninja school in the old Sunagakure village where Shiraishi himself serves as the principal. It has now been moved to the Oasis Ring district and merged with the second elite ninja school. After the merger of the 2 schools, in fact, the other ninja school controlled by Sunagakure village was this branch opened in Nano country. As a student of Shiraishi, Ryaji Morimoto personally went to this school to serve as the principal and recruited talented local children. to become ninjas without charging any tuition fees. Attracting many applications at once. Becoming a ninja these days is an opportunity to change the destiny of a civilian family. The emergence of ninja schools is to give them a space for learning and promotion. The ninja school was established, and it was in serious conflict with the Tokari clan. Although the Tokari clan restrained themselves due to the strength of Sunagakure, the actions behind the scenes never stopped. A third of students drop out. Morimoto Ryaji picked up a document and looked at the list of students who had dropped out of school. He couldn't help but frown. Compared to Naga's Bizen's generosity and Hishinome's liveliness, Morimoto Ryajimoto was very taciturn. In the early years, due to the drastic changes in the family due to the Yamaji family, the whole person seemed a little indifferent. Several staff members looked at Morimoto Ryaharu like this and couldn't help but sweat secretly. The reason why these students dropped out of school was simply because their families were threatened by some unknown forces, or their business was interfered with. In order to survive in the country of Nan, they had to give up. Children dream of becoming ninjas, the sword hunter clan. When it comes to these local forces, Morimoto Ryaji's face is a little cold. Currently, all aspects of the economy of Nano country are developing stably. If the conflict with them due to the ninja school is too fierce, it will inevitably affect the layout of the teacher Nano country. The layout of Nan country is closely related to Shiraishi's future strategic territory, but the matter of the ninja school still needs to be solved. Perhaps we can break through from Togari Sauji, although he is only 14 years old. The genius boy of the Takuguri clan has already reached an astonishing level of strength. During this period of time, he has been practicing life in a remote suburb of Nan country, living like an ascetic. 3 years ago, when the country of Kyushu was still ruled by Shirogakiji, many rebel ninjas from Shirogakiji formed pirates and attacked the country of Kyushu. Just when the local Tokari clan couldn't resist it, Sauji Tokari took action. Immediately, these pirates composed of Shirogakishi's elite rebellious ninjas were eliminated by this young man. So far, Togari Sauji has become the guardian and symbol of the island point. Although the Tokari clan in Sunagakure are only cooperating, and those in Sunagakure are not already part of the family, if they want the Tokari clan to change their attitude, they must be integrated into Sunagakure village. And this talented young man Tokari Sauji is a key figure in Sunagakure's efforts to open up the country of Kyushu. Morimoto Ryaji's plan was simple, and he invited him to be a teacher in this school. As a famous person in Kyushu, Tokari Sauji's whereabouts are easy to find. Soon Morimoto Ryaji, led by his subordinates, came to Tokari Sauji's training place. On a clear lake, a young man was seen sitting cross-legged, unaffected by the appearance of outsiders. As Ryaji Morimoto gradually approached, the boy slowly opened his eyes. A strange feeling made Ryaji Morimoto stop in his tracks. Facing the envoy of Sunagakure, Togari Sauji spoke softly. Mr. Morimoto, do you know what the meaning of happiness is? Happiness? There's no point in pursuing such a thing. 4. Ryaji Morimoto, happiness is the deformation of pain, like a drop of water in the desert. It disappears in an instant and cannot quench thirst. It makes people feel the pain of lack of water, and the sweetness of the moment contrasts with the eternity of suffering. Why are you running around in circles like this, Tokari? Sauji's words touched Morimoto Ryaji, and the steps he was about to move forward quickly stopped. I never want to get involved in the dispute between Tokari and Sunagakure. Please come back. Although he is a member of the Tokari clan, Tokari Sauji does not have a strong sense of belonging to the family. He is a casual practitioner. At the age of 14, he does not want to get too involved in the various forces in the ninja world. Unexpectedly, Morimoto Ryaji raised his head this time and slowly walked towards the direction of Tokari Sauji. The matter about the Kyushu no Kuni ninja school branch is what Mr. Shiraishi expects from him. He must never let down his teacher. For the sake of Sunagakure village, Morimoto Ryaji continues to move forward, holding the black sword tightly in his hand. It's a duel. If you win, I'll trouble you to join the ninja school as an instructor. If you lose, Sunagakure won't bother you in the future. Seeing Morimoto Ryaji's gesture, Togari Sauji helplessly shook his head. This is also a poor person who was brainwashed by Sunagakure. Thinking of this, Tokuri Sauji gently raised the knife in his hand. Sand hidden village. Shiraishi's dedicated training place. The violent natural energy continued to spread under the feet under Beishi's control, forming a scene of purple flames. Beishi, who was wearing a blue robe, felt the rampage of natural energy around him. Many plants began to grow crazily. Compared with the general control of wood escape or other escape techniques, any chakra within the range of the wrath of nature is at a certain level. Extremely unstable state. This is very similar to Orochimaru's cursed power, but the difference is that it is more violent. Once this energy is introduced into the human body, it may directly turn into a monster and go crazy and die. Just as Shiraishi was controlling these natural wrath flames and Yu reading www.ukanshu.net continuously improving his proficiency, a brand new card interface suddenly appeared in the virtual interface of the glasses system. As the proficiency of wrath of nature increases, the glasses system is frantically absorbing the wild natural energy on the ground. Then based on the absorbed energy, the glasses begin to synthesize readings. Card templates appeared little by little, but the patterned borders and even the overall style and color of the cards were all dark red styles that Shiraishi had never seen before. This special dark red card, which is different from any skill tree sequence, is classified as a supreme level card by the system. The red supreme skill card, which surpasses the golden card, turns out to be self-generated and not scattered in the outside world. Shiraishi has always known that the skill system is divided into 6 levels: white, green, blue, purple, gold, and red, but so far he has not collected a single red skill card. It turns out that the cards require specific conditions to be generated. In the virtual system, when the card was unlocked and read, the purple flames began to gather around Shiraishi, gradually forming a giant of light behind Shiraishi. The moment his fists were stretched out, they seemed to be able to destroy mountains and crack the earth. Chapter 178, Giant Guard, NBSP. Under the golden light, Shiraishi waved one hand, and the Giant of Time immediately punched a very shocking attack. Giant Guardian Alala. By absorbing enough natural energy and directly activating the earth, you can gain the power of the true Earth Psychic Guardian Giant. At the same time, it can break defense and cause certain fixed damage. This is one of the 3 subsequent series of Shiraishi's round pupil skills, and its power and effect are extraordinary. After calming down these angry natural energies, the Giant of Light behind the white stone dissipated. The effect of the Giant Guard is not only as a means of attack, but also has a certain Earth Escape attribute as a protective effect due to its Earth Guardian Spirit medium effect. In addition to the most basic use of the method of integrating offense and defense, Shiraishi thought of other combinations, such as combining with magnetic escape, local giantization, or even combining with King Iron, etc., which can change a variety of attack or defense methods. The use of techniques does not depend on fixing a certain situation, but relies more on the performance on the entire battlefield. What's even more powerful is that the Giant Guard's light fist attack has powerful defense breaking power. The appearance of the Giant Guard allowed Shiraishi to go further and further in the explosive output flow. After removing the Giant of Light, Shiraishi looked at the huge pit mark on the ground and couldn't help but take a deep breath. Giant Guard is indeed the strongest skill mode among the 3 branches of Yuan-Tang. This makes Shiraishi look forward to the effects and power of the other 2 skills. But since Wrath of Nature can generate red card Giant Guard, other skills may also be possible. You work all night and stay up late, and you have to practice after that. My dear Kazekage-sama, don't you consider your physical condition at all? When Shiraishi returned home, he was scolded by his wife for a while. While apologizing, Shiraishi accompanied his wife into the house. Sorry, I was negligent. Seeing Shiraishi's appearance, Maki also felt a little distressed. Your strength has already been almost unmatched in the ninja world. Why do you need to continue to improve and practice like this? Is there no opponent? The hidden crisis in the ninja world is deeper than we imagined. After Witnessing the destructive power of the ancient sage Ashura, Shiraishi knew that his current strength was not enough. What's more, in the past 2 years, Yamato on the other side of time and space has briefly passed on a piece of information about Akatsuki's strength in future history, which also made Shiraishi worried about this emerging organization in the land of Rain Point due to the turbulence of time and space. The information and content transmitted by Yamato's clone were all sealed and transmitted in the scroll through the memory screen. Although the content was brief, Shiraishi also understood the basic structure of the ninja world. However, Yamato did not mention some unimportant or outdated information, such as Orochimaru's Konoha collapse plan, mainly due to the limited space in the scroll, and the main priority was to mention the threat to the 5 major villages caused by the Akatsuki organization in recent years. Even the time and space Chiyo Granny sacrificed herself to save the Kazekage Gara. Is that the Kazekage in time and space, the puppet clone who originally went to the country of Rain for negotiations, has also stopped his trip and is preparing to continue to observe changes in the situation in the country of Rain Point. If the threat of Akatsuki in the future can really make the 5 major villages so fearful, then should it be extinguished directly now? Shiraishi quickly rejected the idea. The existence of Akatsuki, in a sense, is a greater threat to Konoha and other ninja villages that control a relatively large number of tailed beasts: the 3 tails and 6 tails of Shirogakure village, the 4 tails and 5 tails of Iwagakure village, the 2 tails and 8 tails of Kumogakure village, and the 9 tails of Konoha village. These tailed beasts and Jinkriki have always been the unified ninja interface of Sunagakure front. Obstruction. Isn't using Akatsuki to eliminate these threats a means of killing with a borrowed knife? When Shiraishi thought about something, his eyes suddenly went blank. When Jounin saw his husband like this, he stopped disturbing him. Zyaju, don't cause trouble. When Shiraishi is in a daze, the fat orange cat at home is most arrogant. Some time ago, while Shiraishi was thinking about something, he secretly picked up a marker and put a big flower on Shiraishi's face. Cat. So when Jounin saw the fat orange cat secretly picking up the pen, he glared at the little fat cat. Instantly, the orange cat gave in, discarded the marker in his hand, and rolled on the ground looking cute. So, it should be castrated to save so much energy every day. Shiraishi stood up and walked towards the orange cat step by step. After his face was painted last time, he was laughed at by Jounin for a long time. This time he would never let the fat cat go. Blood wolf, catch it. After receiving the owner's order, the desert blood wolf howled and rushed towards the orange cat crazily. Suddenly, the cat and the wolf began to run around and escape. In the country of Kyushu, Morimoto Ryoharu, a student of the 5th generation Kazekage Shiraishi, faced off against the genius Tokurisauji of the Tokuri clan. The moment the black sword was taken out, a sharp energy wave spread. In an instant, water splashed everywhere, and Morimoto Ryoji stabbed out with his sword. The speed was amazing. The sword suddenly flashed in Tokurisauji's hand, and in the process of blocking the black sword, the chakra impact airflow generated by both sides instantly caused a huge splash to vibrate on the lake's surface. After just one round, Tokurisauji showed a hint of surprise. He did not expect that Sunagakure, an ordinary jounin, would have such outstanding taijutsu attainments. The Tokuri clan, as its name suggests, is a secret family of taijutsu that specializes in swords. The sword in Tokurisauji's hand, as the fastest sword in the clan, was quickly blocked for the first time. Morimoto Ryoji's idea was much purer than Tokurisauji's. A huge storm spread from around the black sword and turned into a sharp sword light. When Tokurisauji saw this, he rolled up a huge water wave cutting line. According to the data, Tokurisauji is a ninja who is proficient in water escape and sword skills. His water wave cutting alone is enough to rival the destructive power of a jounin. Countless sands appeared from midair to form absolute protection, helping Morimoto Ryoji block these powerful cutting waters. Although he is not a magnetic escape, as a student of Shiraishi, Morimoto Ryoji is also very skilled in the sand control technique, which is mainly used as his core defense method. Therefore, Ryoji Morimoto's sand is very light and he uses his flexibility to create his absolute defense. He must invite Tokurisauji to join, in which case the situation in Kusuno country will be completely opened up. Thinking of this, Morimoto Ryoji gritted his teeth and quickly turned the black sword in his hand, opening his final trump card point according to the teacher's guidance. When Morimoto Raiji quickly formed the seals, the lake in front of him fell into an inexplicable uneasiness and shock. Even Toguri Sauji's eyes were very solemn. He could feel that the black sword in Morimoto Raiji's hand contained powerful power and the damage it could cause to the surrounding environment. The art of earth escape and earth splitting. The number of skills Shiraishi has unlocked has reached an astonishing level, but many skills have not been developed and practiced, but it does not mean that Shiraishi will completely give up these powerful methods. Earth splitting is a unique earth escape technique that Shiraishi taught to Morimoto Raiji. After the spell is completed, the opponent will fall into the cracks in the ground to attack. The powerful earth escape technique, which can easily lead to death if hit, is currently Morimoto Raiji's core secret technique. In addition to Morimoto Raiji, Hashinomi and Naga's Bizan all received certain secret techniques taught by Shiraishi, and all of these techniques can make these students stronger amidst the lightning and flint. Reading www.ukanshu.net. The entire lake seemed to be cut open by a mysterious force and became torn in two pieces. Just when Toguri Sauji was swept up and enveloped by the power of the endless lake, the genius of the Toguri clan, the boy sighed, "So far, I've lost. If the fight continues, everything here will be destroyed." Toguri Sauji does not want to destroy this beautiful scenery by fighting on his own. Facing Morimoto Raiji, he finally chooses to admit defeat. The price for admitting defeat is to join the ninja school as agreed. Successful. When Morimoto Raiji saw Toguri Sauji finally agreed, he suddenly fainted. After all, using a powerful secret technique like earth splitting would cause serious damage to him. A figure flashed quickly, and Toguri Sauji, who had been surrounded by ground cracks before, appeared behind Morimoto Raiji using a very fast teleportation technique and gently supported his body. Really stubborn. 8. Chapter 179. The opening of the 5 film conference. The fact that Toguri Sauji joined the ninja school in Kusuno country and became the instructor caused a sensation in the entire Kusuno country. To become the instructor of the ninja school in Sunagakure village, you must have a Suna ninja establishment, and Morimoto Raiji received special approval from Shiraishi and appointed Toguri Sauji as a jounin and instructor. Becoming a member of the Sunagakure is a genius of the Togakure clan. This event has great symbolic significance. For a time, there were rumors in the country of Kyushu that the Toguri clan was completely subsumed by Sunagakure. "Sauji, do you know what you are doing?" In the gathering place of the Toguri clan, faced with the questioning of the elders of the clan, Toguri Sauji's face was pale. After letting the tribe's advice be ineffective, he slowly stood up and walked towards the high platform of the clan. As he gently turned the knife in his hand, the huge wind blew. Blades spread from all directions. All the clan members were quiet for a while, looking at Toguri Sauji on the stage. The rise of Sunagakure is unstoppable. The country of Kyushu is an important bridgehead for Sunagakure to expand its overseas influence in the future. If we, the Togakure clan, continue to fight against each other, we may end up being no different from the Iroquois family. Anyone with a discerning eye knows what happened to the Iroquois family. Although Iroquois Meru is still alive and the Iroquois family is still alive, they were completely plundered by Sunagakure, leaving only the face of the family. It is said that Iroquois Meru has been ill since this incident, but the fact that he is in his 20s now looks extremely ill, which really makes all the families boo. This is also the reason why the Toguri clan is vigilant and resistant to the Sand Ninja, but at the same time, they are also worried about angering the Kazekage and directly making the Toguri clan history. The scene fell silent for a while. They had always thought that Sauji Toguri was just a simple boy who joined in enthusiastically after a few sweet words from the Sand Ninja. But now it seems that this is not the case at all. Being able to say this shows that Toguri Sauji has thought carefully. Toguri Sauji joined the Sand Ninja force, and it was natural for him to follow the trend. The emergence of Morimoto Raiji gave the Toguri clan a suitable step. The signs of civil strife in Shirogakure are becoming more and more obvious. It is not advisable to think that Shirogakure will sink this broken ship. The country of Kyushu has been ruled by Shirogakure for many years. There are naturally many pro-Shirogakure factions in the Toguri clan. However, Tokurisauji has his own judgment. Joining the Sunagakure force system is the current way out for the Tokuri clan. Changing one's own position and becoming a member of the ninja school can also strengthen the influence of the Tokuguri clan in the land of Nen. Tokurisauji himself has also risen in status within the Tokuri clan and has substantial say in the clan. On the right occasion, a certain opportunity will appear which will completely change the trajectory of the country of Kyushu. After a night of thinking and struggle, the Tokuri clan finally decided to support Tokurisauji to join Sunagakure. In addition, the Tokuri clan also sent several other clans. A young boy applies for a ninja school. The issue of Nan country was peacefully resolved, and Morimoto Ryoji gradually made his name. The country of Nan, which was originally certain to be unstable, began to flourish. Time gradually shifted from the end of Konoha 47 to the beginning of Konoha 48. The World Food Conference held by the country of Wind also officially began to send invitations to various countries. At the port of Kyushu country, cruise ships continued to sail into the country of Wind national waters. This is the country of Nan. A middle-aged man wearing sunglasses looked at the scenery of Kyushu country in front of him, turned around and showed a flattering look to the Sunagakure envoy. The country of Wind is indeed the strongest country in the ninja world at present. Just one island shows the country of Wind strong national power. Kado, the president of a shipping company operating in the country of Waves, is one of the few richest men in the world. In fact, he secretly used the Mayfair and ninjas to smuggle drugs and contraband, and also wanted to invade other companies and countries. Currently, in the country of Waves, it is gradually eroding everything in the entire country. In the land of Waves, Kado may be a big shot, but in the eyes of the 5 major ninja villages, he is just a small character who can be crushed to death at any time. However, such a small role can actually be of great value if used properly, because they are the core of controlling a huge maritime transportation network, so Sunagakure naturally has certain considerations in inviting them here. In addition to Kado, there are also operators of shipping companies from various countries on this cruise ship, all of whom represent important figures in maritime trade. In the name of the International Food Conference, Sunagakure invited envoys from various countries and sent out luxury cruise ships. In fact, it was to cover such a special cruise ship, which carried all the important figures in maritime transportation from various countries. Although several other shipping bosses were a little dismissive of Kado's groveling appearance, they still maintained enough respect for the Sand Ninja. This group of people actually not only cooperated with Shirogakure in the past, but also had contact with Konoha and Kumogakure. The Iroquois family's arms trade also provided routes through them and was shipped to various countries. Nowadays, the rising Sunagakure village is gradually extending its tentacles to the ocean. These sea carriage drivers are afraid of Sunagakure's interference, and they also look forward to deeper cooperation with Sunagakure. Many of the resources Sunagakure controls are scarce in other countries, such as the huge traditional mineral industry, those sweet and delicious tree fruits, and Sunagakure's increasingly excellent detonating charms. Integrating this group of people and contributing to the subsequent booming maritime trade is Shiraishi's core step. The venue for the food conference of all nations is set up in the Shinsa hidden village. Kyushu Kuni is only the first stop, but the next step is to pick up and drop off these sea bosses with brand new steel giants. This ship, stepping on the specially made alloy ship plank, many businessmen, including Kado, looked at them in horror. For similar ships, far better than Shirogakure's, there are many excellent shipyards in Kyushu country and Koano country. They were unified and acquired by Sunagakure and began to integrate operations. A large number of outstanding shipwrights and technicians were gathered together, and they used the segmented manufacturing method of ships to build ships in batches. These ships can sail lightly on the sea, and reading www.ukanshu.net is also related to the special metal minerals of Sunagakure. After combining resources during this period, Shiraishi finally built this thing that surprised the group of sea sharks. The huge warship set sail and sailed towards the mainland of the Kingdom of Wind. Feeling the increasingly powerful changes in the Kingdom of Wind, several shipping merchants among them were even more looking forward to cooperating with Sunagakure in the future. Lord Kazekage, those merchants will arrive in the Kingdom of Wind soon. After settling them well, send a commissioner to negotiate there. is still some time before the opening of the food festival of all nations. Now in Konoha village, the induction ceremony of the 4th generation Hokage Namikaze Minato is about to begin. As one of Konoha's current allies, Sunagakure has naturally received an invitation. Konoha hopes that the 5th generation Kazekage Shiraishi will personally lead a group to observe the induction ceremony of the 4th generation Hokage. In addition to the Kazekage, there are also Reikage, Tsuchikage, and Mizukage who have received the same invitation. The 4th generation Hokage's inauguration ceremony is also the new 5-Kage conference. Set a small goal first, such as remembering in 1 second. Mobile version reading website, chapter 180, Naruto. There is a reason why Namikaze Minato wants to hold the 5-Kage conference. Currently, the last war in the 5 major villages, the battle between Konoha and Shirogakure, the two sides reached a temporary truce in early 48. During this brief conflict, in the face of Konoha's all-out counterattack, Shirogakure suffered a huge loss and retreated to the northern border in embarrassment. The 4th Reikage was defeated by Namikaze Minato many times and was disgraced. Compared with the original history, after the death of Namikaze Minato, Shiragakure's invasion caused Konoha to weaken, and the Hyuga Hisashi incident finally broke out. Now Konoha Namikaze Minato is still alive, and the village still has a trace of strength. Borrowing this momentum, Muye abruptly used less to defeat more, and crippled Jounin's main force. The war between Konoha and Shirogakure preserves the fruits of Konoha's previous victory in the war, and erases the adverse effects caused by the disastrous defeat of Sunagakure. At this point, the Third Ninja War was basically over. This large-scale war spread across the 5 major ninja villages, and ended in a very tragic way. The territories of the 5 major villages were changed except for Tsuchikage and Oki. Looking back on this great ninja war, the 3rd generation Reikage died on the battlefield. The 3rd generation Mizukage was assassinated by an unknown person. The 4th generation Kazekage was sidelined during the war and eventually abdicated. And the 3rd generation Hokage was old and weak. To continue to maintain Konoha, the largest shinobi village, the throne had to be passed to Namikaze Minato. 4 cages from the 5 major ninja villages retreated, and the fighting was only as tragic as the first ninja war, when the 2nd Reikage, 2nd Hokage, 2nd Mizukage, and 2nd Tsuchikage all died in battle. There is a major change in the top management of each village. Under such circumstances, it is necessary to give the new actors the opportunity to interact with each other, conduct certain trials and exchange of interests, and establish the layout of each village after the war. On the other hand, Konoha is currently one of the 5 major ninja villages. Facing the rise of Sunagakure, they need enough allies to contain it. The containment policy against Sunagakure at the 5-Kage conference is also Konoha's general policy. Even Namikaze Minato hoped that Shiraishi would refuse to participate in the 5-Kage conference, so that the 4 cages could sit down and close the door to have a good talk. Konoha is still as arrogant as before. They can hold the 5-Kage conference whenever they want. The last 5-Kage conference was also the end of the 2nd Ninja War. The 3rd Hokage summoned 4 cages to attend. Sunagakure clearly remembers that Konoha's posture was higher than it is now. Now, because of Sunagakure's failure in the first battle, his style much more low-key. But, if we refuse to participate, Sunagakure may be isolated by the 4 ninja village. Ibizo also raised his concerns. If Shiraishi ignores Konoha's invitation, he is likely to be attacked in the future. I will still participate in this trip to Konoha. Seeing the discussion among several elders at the meeting, Shiraishi made a decision. After thinking about it for a while. The 5-Kage conference cannot be absent. Even if Sunagakure is surrounded and isolated, he must participate in this sinister conference. Otherwise it will make the world think that Sunagakure is isolated and unsocial, and a bit too arrogant. Currently, Sunagakure and Shirogakure have a very good relationship. The 4th generation Reikage is Shiraishi's potential ally. The two sides are separated by a country of fire, so there is basically no major strategic conflict. In addition to maritime trade relations, Shirogakure needs a large amount of minerals from the country of wind to build their ninja weapons. As for Shirogakure and Iwagakure, although they don't deal with Sunagakure, do they hate Konoha? The 5 cages are not one-minded in the first place. Since Namikaze Minato is so bold and dares to start the 5-Kage conference, He will not be afraid. Let Iroquois Shiraishi and Shirogakiji serve as my escorts and participate in the Five Shadows Conference together. Iroquois Shiraishi and Shirogakiji are both top-notch among the Sunagakure jounin, and since they have partnered with him many times, Shiraishi is naturally at ease with them. In Konoha village, although Namikaze Minato is not yet the official 4th generation Hokage, he is currently handling official business in the Hokage's office. What the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi left to Namikaze Minato as a Konoha with an extremely decentralized power structure. Among the 4 Hokage advisors, the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen held the actual control of the Anbu, and the route was firmly controlled by Danzo. Take control. Externally, the Uchiha clan serves as a guard to maintain public security in Konoha village, and it is difficult for the Hokage family to intervene in its management. Faced with many constraints within Konoha, Namikaze Minato decided to manage the entire Konoha in his own way. The first thing he did was to arrange for Kakashi to enter the Anbu. Shortly after the Battle of Kanabi Bridge, Kakashi and Rin were attacked by the Miss Ninjas. At that time, Rin, who had had the 3 tails implanted in her body by the Miss Ninjas, chose to die next to Kakashi in order to protect Konoha from the 3 tails attack. Under the thunder, Kakashi was devastated by the loss of his 2 companions, Obito and Lin, and was tortured both physically and mentally by continuous nightmares as Kakashi's former teacher. Namikaze Minato asked him to join the Anbu in order to get Kakashi out of this state. At the same time, this was also the beginning of Namikaze Minato's large-scale intervention in the Anbu. In addition to Kakashi, Namikaze Minato also arranged for many of his comrades who fought side by side during the Ninja World War to enter the Anbu, interrogation department, medical class and other positions, to facilitate the management of the Hokage. Namikaze Minato's actions are within the default range of Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, he is now the 4th generation Hokage. It is not good if he does not have certain actual influence on various key departments. After all, Namikaze Minato is his disciple and grandson, and neither does the 3rd generation Hokage. I hope he becomes a lame shadow like Rasa Sunagakure. Convening the 5 Kage conference was Namikaze Minato's own decision. It was nothing more than a new round of conferences to eliminate the influence of the current ninja world. That Aoki Shiraishi is the contemporary Uchiha Madara. Shikaku, do you think the Kazekage will agree to this 5 Kage conference? Putting down the official document in his hand, Namikaze Minato suddenly turned around and looked at his closest comrade, his tone full of uncertainty. The 5 Shadows conference was held. Reading www.ukanshu.net. Although it was his own idea, Nara Shikaku was the first partner to support him, and even strongly agreed with it. Regarding Namikaze Minato's question, Nara Shikaku answered casually, while sorting out the documents. I should agree, because Sunagakure also needs to open up his own channels and form an alliance with Kumogakure and his ilk. Even if there is no 5 Kage conference, it is inevitable that Kumogakure and Sunagakure will get closer. Namikaze Minato is not worried about this matter, but other possible conflicts with Aoki Shiraishi. Once Aoki Shiraishi is in a bad mood suddenly during the 5 Shadows conference, and a blast of blue flames blasts the Konoha village in Konoha, it will be a big trouble. Although the flying thunder god could deflect Aoan's attack, Namikaze Minato couldn't quickly suppress the Kazekage, which was a humanoid tail beast level combat power. Namikaze Minato clenched his fists when he thought of those overwhelming blue flame pyramids over Sunagakure village. I must not lose to him. Set a small goal first, such as remembering in 1 second. Mobile version reading website, chapter 181, Orochimaru returns. NBSP, Sunagakure agreed to participate in the 5 Shadows conference, but raised objections to the choice of Konoha as the venue for the meeting, and hoped that the 5 Shadows conference would be held in a neutral country. Sunagakure's reply was sent to the desk of Konoha Hokage's office. In the name of safety, Shiraishi hoped that the location of the 5 Shadows conference would be moved to another neutral country. This proposal quickly gained support from the other 3 major ninja villages. The Hokage Grand Ceremony and the 5 Kage Conference are held together. Sunagakure's request is equivalent to holding the 2 events separately. Originally, Konoha planned to use the same time as Namikaze Minato took office. The other foreshadows appeared to show the power of the number 1 ninja village, but Sunagakure's attitude suddenly made Konoha's position awkward. Security is indeed an issue that cannot be ignored. During the first ninja war, the lessons learned by the second Hokage and the second Raikage were still vivid in our minds. Every village did not want any accidents to happen to their own kage, so it was important to choose a neutral country. At present, among the countries in the ninja world, the relatively safe neutral country is only the Iron Kingdom. This country was founded by samurai. All parties agreed a long time ago that they would never take action against the Iron Kingdom. Therefore, the Iron Kingdom avoided the influence of several ninja wars. Namikaze Minato quickly agreed to hold the 5-Kage conference in the Kingdom of Iron, although doing so would directly affect his Hokage ceremony. The concept of Hokage's induction ceremony without the participation of the foreshadows is completely different from that of the foreshadows' participation. In fact, Konoha breathed a sigh of relief after learning that the 5th Kazekage chose to appear in a neutral country to hold the 5-Kage conference. It would be best if Aoki Shiraishi, the evil star, does not come to Konoha. Otherwise, as soon as he appears in Konoha village, the residents of the village will worry that if his brain gets hot and he projects a large number of blue flame pyramids, then the entire Konoha village will be in trouble. After a long period of research and data collection, Konoha still had a very limited understanding of the changes in its properties using the green flames collected from the original fire sealing seal. So it was quite fearful of Aoki Shiraishi. The most terrifying thing about Aoki Shiraishi is his endless new techniques. Konoha can collect, analyze, and organize the old abilities and data, and rely on Namikaze Minato's powerful mobility to contain Aoki Shiraishi to a certain extent. Shiraishi is constantly developing new techniques and new attacks too quickly, causing the entire intelligence to lag during each battle. Deep underground in the Oasis Ring area, countless pipes are like spider webs, connecting the underground world of the new sand-hidden village, creating a mysterious realm. Kazekage-sama, you seem to have done a lot of interesting research. There was a cold sound of tongue sticking out, and Orochimaru, dressed in white, looked at everything here in wonder. The reason he invited Orochimaru to his laboratory was because Shiraishi had difficulties in some research in the biological field, and he needed Orochimaru, an expert in genetic biology, to solve his problems. Unlike Shiraishi, who constantly develops new techniques and develops human puppets and supercomputing systems, Orochimaru's research and development of secret techniques on the human body is the most advanced in this era. I am always inferior to Orochimaru-senpai in the biological field. Shiraishi pushed up his glasses and handed the special project information he was currently developing to Orochimaru meticulously. Looking at Shiraishi's crazy experimental plan, Orochimaru swallowed and showed a trace of interest. Throughout the biological laboratory, Shiraishi collected all kinds of blood cells. Collected so far dozens of blood successors, including the Uchiha family, Hyuga family, Shigame, Minazuki and so on, were compared one by one in combination, and a very unexpected result emerged. The bone veins of the corpse are highly overlapped with the human cells of the Hyuga family. This is really an interesting discovery. Although Orochimaru has also conducted research on corpse veins, he did not compare corpse vein cells with Hyuga family cells. This is a fixed thinking belonging to Konoha village. However, Shiraishi originally collected a limited number of blood successors after King Gaian burned Hinata Tenman to death. Although the body was taken away by Namikaze Minato using Flying Thunder God, the remaining cells were extracted by Shiraishi. Now Shiraishi has transplanted the blood cell nucleus containing the genetic material into the egg cell with the nucleus removed, and used microcurrent stimulation controlled by magnets to fuse the two into one, and then promote the new cell to divide, reproduce and develop into an embryo. The Hyuga family's Byakugan, the Kaguya clan's corpse veins, and some of Shiraishi's own cells quickly fused into a complete cell nucleus during the entire process. The thunder, fire, earth and wind chakras contained in Shiraishi's own cells were all squeezed out, except for the water chakra, which was extremely compatible with it. The nucleus successfully divides and reproduces in the egg cell. But when it grows to a certain level, it still requires a qualified mother to become pregnant. This is the only successful core that Shiraishi has tested so far. This is the advantage of mastering the technological system of another world in the glasses system, which allows many of Shiraishi's researchers to avoid detours and directly develop cell cloning technology. The more Orochimaru looked at these materials, the more intense his eyes became. Soon he looked at Shiraishi with a slightly different look. Are you looking for me to seek information about the mother body? Well, the mother body needs to have enough chakra and vitality to maintain the growth of this cell nucleus. Shiraishi did not directly tell Orochimaru that the direct fusion of Hinata and Kaguya's blood would make the core chaotic and violent, and the children they would cultivate would also be full of irritability and murder. Only by blending the third party, that is, the gentle water type chakra cells, can this cell nucleus be stabilized. This is also the key information Shiraishi concealed in the information he gave to Orochimaru. Haha, according to this standard, only the Uzumaki clan meets your requirements. The Uzumaki clan originally lived in Uzushio village in the country of Uzumaki, and is a family that is good at sealing. Although the clan is not large in size, Kanshu www.ukanshu.net has a long history, extremely strong vitality and a huge amount of chakra. Even powerful enough to suppress a tailed beast. His red hair is his signature feature, and when his chakra is consumed excessively, his hair will turn white. Most of the residents in the village live long lives, so Ucheo village is also called the longevity village. The Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan of Konoha are distant blood relatives, and they have always maintained a deep bond with the Senju clan. The two sides have had long-term friendly exchanges, and even many ninjas in Konoha have the Uzumaki clan's mark on their clothes. Because other ethnic groups were afraid of the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique, they attacked them in groups, and the country of Uzumaki was destroyed. The surviving tribesmen remain anonymous and scattered around the world. Unfortunately, there are currently no members of the Uzumaki clan among the subordinates I have collected, but I have a piece of intelligence information about the Uzumaki clan. Under the dim light, Orochimaru showed a strange smile. Shiraishi directly ignored the strange movements and smile of the Frankenstein in front of him. Oh, in the country of grass, there may be members of the Uzumaki clan you are looking for. Chapter 182, Uchiha NBSP. Shiraishi invited Orochimaru to visit his laboratory, not only about the nucleus matrix, but also many things that needed to be communicated. Over the years, Orochimaru has deployed a large number of bases in Shion no Kuni, Kono no Kuni and other places, which is inseparable from Shiraishi's funding and sponsorship. Especially since Shiraishi came to power, support for Orochimaru has continued to increase. Orochimaru is a top scientific research talent, and sometimes Shiraishi values his research and development capabilities more than treating him as a combat power. Caches planted in the Kingdom of Wind. The extremely fast-growing tree fruits are planted due to Orochimaru's improved technology. This has brought about earth-shaking changes in the fruit yield. In addition, in Orochimaru's experiment this year, a special kind of chicken was improved that can survive in the desert, and the meat is delicious and nutritious. Special technologies such as these are applied in all aspects of Sunagakure, which is why the Kingdom of Wind takes such good care of Orochimaru, and a large amount of equipment and funds continue to come. With the support of a great ninja village like Sunagakure, Orochimaru's work was carried out smoothly, and his own research progress was also greatly improved. Shiraishi turned his back to Orochimaru and exchanged some project information. However, Orochimaru licked his tongue at this time, with a slightly dangerous feeling in his eyes. Sensing the abnormality, Shiraishi turned around slowly, with a hint of power and majesty in his indifferent eyes. The moment the two looked at each other, Orochimaru chuckled and put away his slightly dangerous gaze. As the two looked at each other, Shiraishi's round pupils slowly activated, and the color in them flickered. Senior Orochimaru, are you close to succeeding in the reincarnation technique? Although Orochimaru is still the same Orochimaru as before, Shiraishi can feel the changes in his soul, and he is starting to become a little restless and impetuous. Realizing that Shiraishi's gaze was examining him, Orochimaru slowly turned around and licked his tongue. There is still one step left. The evacuation from Konoha was too hasty, and many secret techniques and information were not taken away in time. You have to learn to restrain yourself and not be controlled by obsession. Just Now, Orochimaru almost used the reincarnation technique on himself because of his greed. If he did this, it would be equivalent to breaking up the cooperative relationship between the two parties, which would not be conducive to Sunagakure's future development. Faced with Shiraishi's warning, Orochimaru smiled. Haha, I understand. The Third Hokage's ability to become a Konoha professor is actually related to Konoha's massive collection of secret arts and forbidden arts. These materials were all collected through wars during the Warring States period, when Senju Tobirama, the second most powerful figure in Konoha, collected them. The era when the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan were united, and invincible was the most glorious era of Konoha. This room full of secrets and forbidden arts were witnesses of all this. In that room, Orochimaru saw many powerful secret techniques that he had never seen before. As he indulged in them, he became increasingly intolerable to the situation that he could not learn them all in his lifetime. Must live forever. This is Orochimaru's belief. Regarding these secret techniques and forbidden techniques, Shiraishi also obtained certain information, but Orochimaru was very cunning, and many core secret techniques were not revealed. Among the objects of the reincarnation technique, Orochimaru naturally hopes to seize the body of Aoki Shiraishi. This ninja hero who emerged from nowhere has mastered too many secrets. The more he understands, the more he feels unfathomable. Such a powerful existence is the perfect container that I long for, but it is a pity that the difficulty it's too big, and I have too little confidence in facing him. What's more, as a Kazekage, he holds a lot of resources and cards, and Orochimaru will not rashly destroy the relationship between the two parties. He just couldn't restrain himself for a while. Looking at Orochimaru's retreating back, Shiraishi's eyes were cold. He never thought that Orochimaru would be unable to restrain himself from attacking him in his base. His ambition and greed were still too great. Those who have power control the devil. Those who have no power are enslaved by the devil. Shiraishi took off his glasses and placed them gently on the table. Although he has been able to read and learn the skills in the glasses over the years, he will try more chakra modifications and try not to rely too much on the skills in the glasses. The purpose and intention of this pair of glasses is still unclear, but from the fact that its previous owners did not end well, we can know that there are other secrets hidden in the glasses system that I don't know. The asymmetry of information made Shiraishi even more fearful and cautious. In the land of rain, it rains all year round, and the top leaders of the Akatsuki organization are currently having intense discussions. Hanzo sent an invitation letter and wanted to use their power to propose a peaceful negotiation proposal to the three great powers of fire, wind, and earth, hoping to make the Kingdom of Rain a permanently neutral country like the Kingdom of Iron. Nagato and Zion expressed doubts about Hanzo's invitation. After all, during the previous fight against the Suna ninja, Hanzo had briefly cooperated with them, but he directly turned against them and expelled them afterwards. But Yahiko disagreed. For the future of the Land of Rain, he was willing to gamble on this weak hope. What Yahiko said is just his ideal. So what if he understands the pain of others? Others will not understand you, and the world does not expect this to happen. Nagato looked at the masked man who called himself Uchiha Madara with a hint of wariness in his eyes. No matter what you say, I firmly believe in Yahiko. Although he has the Samsara eye, he is only a mortal after all. Looking at Nagato's eyes, Uchiha Obito under the mask felt irritated for no reason. He slowly passed through Nagato's body and sighed softly. The layout of the Land of Rain is coming to an end. Hanzo and Anzo have joined forces to kill Akatsuki. Obito Uchiha also decided to remove Yahiko's obstacle in order to stimulate the darkness in Nagato's heart. When the interests of all parties are aligned, Akatsuki's outcome is basically doomed. But at this time, Uchiha Obito suddenly took action. Ukanshu www.ukanshu.net appeared in another area of the Land of Rain with a twisted body and took action against a mysterious shadow. Uchiha Obito also didn't expect that when he appeared in the Land of Rain and was talking to Nagato, there were other people watching in the dark. It was not easy for this person to avoid Zetsu's detection and perception for a short period of time. The black shadow instantly dissipated and turned into a pool of black mist. During the contact with Uchiha Obito, his hands were covered with layers of light frost, and a special dimensional hole appeared in front of him. Black Mist Jutsu and Black Hole Time and Space Ninjutsu, the famous 5th Kazekage's signature ninjutsu, made Uchiha Obito frown. He never expected that the Kazekage would also pay attention to Akatsuki. Before the old guy Uchiha Madara passed away, he warned himself to be careful of the 5th Kazekage. With the name of contemporary Uchiha Madara, he is probably still above Minato Sensei in strength. After only one round of meeting, Uchiha Obito realized that his opponent was difficult to deal with. While he was vigilantly checking his surroundings, a small dimensional hole appeared behind him again, and a masked man dressed similarly to Uchiha Obito appeared behind him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183, Zio Rebirth. NBSP, Uchiha Obito and the masked man transformed into the Shiraishi puppet clone were facing each other on the side of the Rain Country. Who are you to secretly control the situation in the Kingdom of Rain? Although they are human puppets, they share the consciousness of Shiraishi, so there is not much difference between the two. Facing the number one person in the ninja world today, Uchiha Obito's eyes are full of alertness and vigilance. You can call me Madara Uchiha. What? A very boring joke. After Shiraishi heard Obito's answer, he quickly grasped the knife in his hand. The moment he raised the knife and slashed it down, a huge wind blade struck. How could a being like Uchiha Madara wear a mask, move around and deceive others? He could have any identity, but Uchiha Madara wouldn't be him at all. Over the years, the forces hidden in the darkness of the ninja world have gradually emerged, and Shiraishi had a head-on confrontation with them for the first time. The moment the wind blade flashed, Obito's body appeared in a strange virtual scene. After easily dodging Shiraishi's attack, he said with a smile, "Any jutsu is of little significance to me, Madara." However, at this time, countless cyan light pillars suddenly appeared under Obito's feet. Under the control of the human puppet Shiraishi, the root wave was transformed into a huge cage of light and sealed. Cyan light beam. By the way, the 5th Kazekage once used a special actinic technique on the battlefields of Rain Country and Shirogakure. It should be an application of water escape. With a loud explosion, Uchiha Obito appeared on the other side, with a long stick thrust out of his hand. However, before it came into contact with Shiraishi, he was knocked back by the huge electromagnetic wave. At the same time, Shiraishi's fingers danced with the invisible holy sword airflow, producing majestic airflow fluctuations. But Uchiha Obito shot an iron lock, but Shiraishi used a substitute technique to avoid the iron lock attack. The three-body technique is a basic ability of ninjas. The substitute technique has unique advantages in short and medium distance combat. However, it has the disadvantage that it requires a certain amount of time to cast the spell and place the replacement coordinates. Shiraishi, who had completed the substitution technique, directly used the rain blink and quickly appeared next to Obito, stabbing out the kunai in his hand. However, when Obito's body was in the process of becoming hollow, Shiraishi's kunai was allowed to pass through his body. Seizing Shiraishi's flaw, Obito grabbed Shiraishi's arm with his backhand. The Sharingan in his right eye was ready to absorb the 5th Kazekage into the Kamu space, but at this moment Shiraishi activated the dimensional hole and appeared on the other side. The chakra of the human puppet Shiraishi is limited. Although it can simulate most of Shiraishi's abilities, there is still a certain gap between it and the real body. Therefore, the techniques Shiraishi uses are very careful. The close attack was useless. Shiraishi took out 3 kunai, and soon special seals appeared on the surface of these 3 slightly dark red kunai. 3 kunai were projected out, and Obito held a long stick to block the moment. The kunai produced a special explosion, and strong electromagnetic light suddenly burst out. Obito's expression changed, and he quickly used divine power to avoid it. The brand new kunai made by Sunagakure contains a variety of devices and mechanisms. It is currently the best-selling product in the underground arms market. The price of an ordinary kunai is more than 10 times that of an ordinary kunai. The 3 kunai shot were inserted into the ground and turned into a huge light source array. When the 3 Earth escape formations were activated, they transformed into 3 Earth clones, each holding a weapon, and attacking Obito in the center. Obito reacted very quickly. In an instant, the 3 Earth clones of Shiraishi were penetrated by countless wooden thorns, breaking the Sankei formation created by Shiraishi. The new Kyuune made by Sunagakure contains a variety of devices and mechanisms, and can also store shikijutsu marks for various purposes. The current best-selling product in the underground arms market, the price of an ordinary Kyuune is more than 10 times that of an ordinary Kyuune. He shot 3 shots casually, and Shiraishi made a very rich move. However, while Obito Kamu was switching coordinates, Shiraishi quietly recovered these 3 Kyuune. After all, these are not disposable ninja tools, and can be used repeatedly. The majestic Kazekage, can you still recycle ninja tools? Obito was born with a tongue-in-cheek style, and finally he couldn't help but laugh at Shiraishi's stinginess. It seems that you are from Konoha. Other ninja villages have the concept of waste and shame. This for a moment, Obito didn't know how to answer kung fu. The yuan cave at Shiraishi's feet suddenly flashed and turned into a ray of light. In a rainy environment, it is difficult to use magnetic escape, so Shiraishi cannot control the 6-dimensional holes and can only use one to switch coordinates. Compared with Obito's special space-time ninjutsu, it is slightly weaker. However, a single-dimensional hole has other powerful abilities. Just when Obito was about to switch coordinates again, this special black hole burst out with strong pressure, and Obito's whole body became very heavy. Gravity bondage. After Shiraishi obtained the teleportation skill card, it took him several months to reach full proficiency and finally successfully unlock the gravity technique. This technique currently cannot be controlled by Shiraishi at will, but it can exert gravity to some specific substances, such as a dimensional hole or a bright sunny day. While Obito's body was restrained by the gravity technique, Shiraishi's figure flashed, and the teleportation technique appeared on Obito's side. The green flames on his palms produced powerful heat, exuding a sense of threat. It seems that you are not completely afraid of any attack. Oh, then you can give it a try. 5th Kazekage, Kingan, turned into a purgatory restraint, only to see Obito switch coordinates again. Although his speed was slowed down a lot under the suppression of gravity, he still could not completely suppress his actions. Any technique has certain flaws. Shiraishi swung the long knife in his hand continuously, unleashing an astonishing taijutsu attack. Directly attack Obito on one side. The knife danced rapidly in Shiraishi's hand, and Uchiha Obito gradually felt the strong pressure as the sword light continued to attack. Although he can dodge by blurring, he will eventually be unable to bear the attacks if he keeps attacking. The 5th Kazekage was indeed an opponent that even that old guy like Madara would be afraid of because he was too troublesome. There was no gap in the offensive, and the swords and lights were densely intertwined in the attack. Uchiha Obito had no choice but to raise one hand to the ground. Wouldn't escapes the chaos of hell. Would escape. After hearing about Mudan, you read a book. www.ukanshu. The moment Shiraishi was distracted, several large trees filled with thorns spiraled up, trying to drag Shiraishi into strangulation, which could cause a devastating blow to a wide range of enemies. However, this move is of little use against Shiraishi. Its only effect is to delay Shiraishi's attack. With the help of wood release to delay time, Uchiha Obito's body gradually became blurred and dissipated. The 5th Kazekage. I look forward to our next meeting. Shiraishi and Obito had a tentative fight, which attracted the attention of the surrounding rain ninjas. Soon a part of the rain ninja reconnaissance force appeared, but there was nothing else to find at the scene, except traces of the battle. In an instant, Shiraishi appeared at the place where Hanzo of the Rain Country was negotiating with the Akatsuki organization, only to find Yahiko, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, already covered in blood and lying on his best friend Nagato. And on the ground, a shocking demon statue rises as this thing. Chapter 184. Cursed World. On the battlefield behind the Land of Rain, the core members of the first generation Akatsuki who had followed Yahiko and others felt Ozetsu's attack one by one. When Obito slowly appeared and killed the remaining people one by one, it heralded the destruction of the first generation Akatsuki. Enter the countdown. There is no ideal in this cursed world. Nagato should abandon his illusions and start a new world. After cleaning up Yahiko's subordinates one by one. Zetsu looked at the remaining injuries on Obito's body, with a hint of wonder in his tone. Are you injured? Encountered a troublesome opponent. Trouble. Looking at the entire ninja world, there are only a few people who can make Obito so embarrassed. Among them, the person Black Zetsu is most worried about may have already appeared in the country of rain, the 5th generation Kazekage, but that one should not be the main body, but similar to a clone. Obito's words also confirmed Black Zetsu's guess. Clone. Obito wiped the dust off his body and said nonchalantly, although the combat experience is the same, the amount of chakra is not in the same dimension at all. It should be the existence of a special mirror clone. Even if it is a clone, the ability of the 5th Kazekage still gives Obito an elusive feeling, because although they just had a tentative fight with each other, through this clone, Obito can feel the level of Aoki Shiraishi's original strength point. He is worthy of being the Shura of this generation's ninja world. Sunagakure will be more difficult to deal with than Konoha in the future. Regarding Zetsu's worries, Obito shook his head. It doesn't matter. Sunagakure has the smallest number of tailed beasts among the 5 great ninja villages. The biggest problem is changing the order of capturing the tailed beasts, although the overall strength of Konoha is strong. Obito, who came from Konoha, knows the internal situation of Konoha very well, and can even enter and exit the barrier at will to change the clouds and rain. Sunagakure is different. Under different systems, it is difficult for Obito to interfere with Sunagakure. Need to absorb some rebellious nin from Sunagakure house. The investigation of the Red Sand Scorpion's whereabouts going, because of Shiraishi, Ju recommended the Red Sand Scorpion in advance. After all, a rebellious ninja from Sunagakure might be able to help them collect a lot of useful information and intelligence. Then, let's go together to witness Nagato's fate. Letting the rain wet him, Nagato looked at his fallen friend, and an indescribable sorrow filled his heart. He was deceived, and his best friend died in front of his eyes. In extreme anger, he used the Samsurai to summon the heretic demon, which shocked the whole world. Venue owner, what is this? When Beishi saw the heretic demon in the distance, his originally calm expression changed. Could this be the heretic demon? When he was in the kingdom of Sichuan, Shiraishi heard from Ashura the story of the 6 paths sage sealing the 10 tails in the past. Logically speaking, the heretic demon was sealed in the moon. Could it be that someone had already summoned it to the earth? Now Shiraishi is not one of those chicks. Although Nagato's Samsurai is amazing, it is impossible to bring the heretic demon into the world with the first summons. Someone may have stolen the heretic demon from the moon before. Could it be related to the person who called himself Uchiha Madara just now? The 9 magic dragon seals are gone. Relying on the heretic golem, Nagato launched a shocking killing move. As the dragon soared, it swooped down in an extremely terrifying manner. Any ninja who was swept away by the dragon would have his soul deprived of the seal. What an unreasonable sealing technique. This is a very arrogant soul sealing technique. Shiraishi has learned a lot about sealing techniques in the past, but none of them are as terrifying as the 9 sealing magic dragon in front of him. This kind of attack and sealing method can't deal with ordinary ninjas. In other words, it is a big killer in less than a moment. Most of Danzo and Hanzo's subordinates were wiped out. The moment they were swept by the dragon-shaped air current, the souls of these ninjas were directly extracted. Hanzo looked at the furious Nagato and couldn't help but sigh. Are you angry after your ideals are shattered? Hanzo's sigh contained too many emotions. In the process of escaping, the Rain Ninja and the Konoha Ninja began to fully retreat. Nagato fell into a state of madness, and his hair and color were withering little by little, but his eyes were extremely furious and crazy. His vitality continues to be overdrawn, and now he is only relying on the powerful physique of the Uzumaki clan to support him. Although the Samsurai is an advanced pupil technique, unless these eyes did not originally belong to him, there would not be such a drastic consumption. Thinking of this, Shiraishi understood that the fate of the Akatsuki organization had been arranged by the mysterious person in the dark from the beginning. Sand Ninja Nagato, who was in a rage, had much improved perception, and soon he noticed Shiraishi in the dark, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. The Suna Ninja and the Konoha Rain Ninja are not the same. Nagato knows this very well, and the loss of summoning the heretic demon is also serious, so he stares at the emerging Shiraishi with a pale Facepoint. Seeing Shiraishi appear in front of Nagato and others, Obito and Zetsu both looked anxiously. The unexpected appearance of the 5th generation Kazekage was like a stick, disrupting their plans. Raindrops fell on the ground. Shiraishi looked at Nagato, who had crazy eyes in front of him, and said calmly, "I originally came to Yohiko to discuss cooperation matters, but now it seems that it is no longer necessary." Looking for Yohiko, Nagato sneered several times. The great powers use the land of rain as a battlefield for their game. Konoha supports Hanzo, so does the Sand Ninja support us. The regeneration core in the pupil flashed bright red, and Shiraishi narrated in a cold tone, "That's completely correct. Now that Yohiko is dead, you two are the controllers of Akatsuki. Sunagakure's policy remains unchanged, and Akatsuki will always be our first choice for cooperation." Akatsuki is an excellent mercenary group that can accomplish many things for themselves. There was a certain reason why Akatsuki and Iwagakure collaborated many times in history, but now they are just replaced by Sunagakure. Akatsuki had no reason to refuse Shiraishi's cooperation, especially after abandoning his previous ideals. Nagato needed to consider more things. Whether it was Uchiha Madara or this big shot of the Sand Ninja, they were all worthy of use. Both sides just get what they need. I look forward to the day when Akatsuki takes complete control of the Rain Country. Reading www.ukashu.net. After completing the first negotiation with the Akatsuki members, Shiraishi left the country of Rain without taking any other actions. This made Obito and Zetsu in the dark breathe a sigh of relief. The 5th Kazekage is a more dangerous existence than Hanzo. Obito slowly walked out of the darkness, looked at Nagato's face that gradually became colder, and spoke in a warning tone. "So, what? You're not in danger?" Nagato's rhetorical question made Obito stunned for a moment. Zianan slowly stepped forward and helped Nagato up. He saw his hair gradually turning grey, gasping for air. "There is no peace in this cursed world." "Yes, that's it." As Obito's body disappeared, there was something strange in his eyes. "Yohiko, Nagato, Conan, I will let you meet again in the dream world." Chapter 185, Shiraishi's Forbidden Technique, Part 1. The great changes in the Land of Rain shocked even the remote Sunagakure mainland. When the clone puppet showed everything it saw with its eyes in movie playback mode, Shiraishi's face became much more solemn. Samsurai, the mysterious space-time ninjutsu Sharingan. The water in this ninja world seems to be deeper than imagined. The huge heretic demon contained terrifying power, which made Shiraishi realize that there is a huge undercurrent in the ninja world today. The Rinnegan and the powerful Sharingan can both be used as chess pieces, which shows how generous that person is. Perhaps it was indeed Uchiha Madara's action point, although Shiraishi didn't think that the masked man was Uchiha Madara. It should just be Madara's puppet at the front desk. No wonder the Akatsuki in history could pose such a big threat to the 5 great ninja villages. With the help of the heretic golem, it is not a problem to resurrect the Ten Tails. And is it accurate to say that Akatsuki's ultimate goal is to resurrect the Ten Tails? Regarding the information about the Ten Tails, Ashura's initial information was limited. He only knew that the Sage of Six Paths sealed the Ten Tails together with his brother. Then the Sage of Six Paths became the Ten-tailed Jinchuriki. Before his death, he extracted the Ten Tails and divided them into 9-tailed beasts. The hidden Uchiha Madara is trying to resurrect the Ten Tails. Does he aim to control the entire ninja world? The information was still insufficient, and a sense of crisis came over me. Faced with the crisis, Shiraishi decided to adjust the intelligence system deployed in the country of Rain. From the beginning, ordinary attention was listed as a key concern. In addition to the large number of intelligence personnel sent previously, Shiraishi needed a core member who was enough to become an Akatsuki and lurk within the Akatsuki organization. Before Akatsuki has collected enough tailed beasts, they are still vulnerable to the 5 major ninja villages. The entire organization needs to have enough manpower and sufficient funds to collect intelligence clues. They can't achieve their goals without about 10 years. No wonder the active period of Akatsuki in future time and space has been extended to more than 10 years among them. The ninja sword Sumehada of the Watermelon Mountain Fugu Demon became a core member of the Akatsuki after future intelligence showed that it was taken away by a ninja named Makigaki Kasane Kirigakure. Sumehada. He had to speed up his deployment, as Kirigakure's ghost light Heiau alone was not enough. Thinking of this, Beishi finally made up his mind, took out a scroll, and opened it. Then Shiraishi's own violent green flame power quickly burned in the palm of his hand. Under the blazing flames, countless huge black runes appeared on Shiraishi's body. Driven by his own yin and yang chakra, Shiraishi entered a very strange state, ninjutsu, heavenly curse and 5 symbols technique, with the glasses skill curse as the core, combined with its own yin and yang attribute chakra, and the huge green flame energy. A special light and shadow suddenly appeared behind the white stone. A ball of silver white soul light was suspended in midair, and soon split into a large ball of light and a ball of small light. Part of the soul was completely split. The huge power of the curse spreads from Beishi's body, and the soul separated from the burning blue flame, and the curse is completely transformed into a unique soul body. It constantly uses the power of the curse to greedily absorb the huge resentful spirit sealed in the scroll energy. Then this resentful energy quickly rushed to the outside world, looking for a suitable parasite point. Although the soul is divided, the thinking network established by Shiraishi's own regeneration core allows for limited communication without being completely divided, which still makes Shiraishi's state uncomfortable. This technique has been classified as sand hidden forbidden technique by Shiraishi. This forbidden soul technique, which is contrary to Orochimaru's reincarnation technique, is a super ninjutsu developed by Shiraishi with curse technique as its core over the years. The effect is very powerful. Compared with the technique of reincarnation, that brings the risk of soul weakening. This technique that in turn destroys the great establishment, on the contrary, strengthens and stabilizes one's own soul. Shiraishi was originally inspired by this technique. He used very weak regenerative nuclear power in his future world to control Yamato to investigate the intelligence of another world. Due to the limited power of the regenerative core and seal, Yamato will not be controlled for more than half a year. Using this half year, Shiraishi hopes to obtain useful intelligence and information for himself. When it comes to the future world, the first batch of intelligence information compiled is limited, but the overall timeline of Konoha's future is still clearly listed. Namake's Minato, the stunning 4th generation Hokage, should have died in Konoha 48. Died in the Ninetales invasion. The golden flash that once frightened every ninja village in this era is about to become its last song. This 5-Kage conference may be the last time he sees the style of Namake's Minato. I thought that in the next 10 years, Konoha would have golden light to rule, and it would take at least 30 more years for Sunagakure to plan the entire ninja world. Now it seems that, using the Akatsuki incident, Sunagakure may be able to unify the ninja world within 20 years. Kirigakure intelligence base. After the newly appointed 4th generation Mizukage came to power in Kirigakure, he adjusted Kirigakure's policies and changed the past model of crazy aggression against foreign countries. He mainly focused on blockade and seclusion to isolate himself from the outside world. Although the purpose of this was to allow Kirigakure to recuperate and restore the power lost during the Great Ninja War, over time, chaos began to arise within Kirigakure. At the same time, the original maritime sphere of influence of the Kingdom of Water was gradually absorbed and controlled by the Sunagakure forces. At present, except for the mainland of the Kingdom of Water, most of the forces in the sea areas have been brought under the control of Sunagakure. This is a very dangerous matter, but the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Demon, who has long been colluded with Sunagakure, turns a blind eye and does not make any plans as the intelligence department of Kirigakure. The Migul Mountain Fugu Ghost is now under great pressure. The entire Kirigakure village is gradually starting to lose control. Various conflicts break out all the time, making Kirigakure, who already worships martial arts, even crazier. The blood successor families and the secret arts families began to attack each other, and Lord Mizukage sat indifferently and watched all this happen. As an intelligence agent, Zigwashin Blowfish Ghost noticed a very terrible hypothesis with this suspicion. The Watermelon Mountain Blowfish Ghost went to the most mysterious base of the Kirigakure Intelligence Department, which was a dark waterfall in Kirigakure village. Surrounded by the sound of huge water flow, the watermelon mountain blowfish ghost activated the seal and stepped into it. As soon as they entered the waterfall, they saw countless vortexes formed by water splashes suspended in the air, and the light blue mind was controlling everything. A special sense of perception envelops the entire waterfall. You came. A faint greeting. You reading www.ukanshu.net. The moment the water curtain rolled up, a stunning figure floated in front of the watermelon mountain puffer ghost. A young man in ninja attire used an extremely gentle water control technique to step on the water with his toes. On the Lake Point Konoha village, Uchiha Camp Point, the death of Uchiha-chan brought a huge blow to the family, and soon the second bad news came to the family. Uchiha-chan's only son, Uchiha Shizuka-san, suffered heavy losses due to the last battle with Shirogakiji, and finally died after several months of delay. As a descendant of the Uchiha Kagami line, the top management of Konoha issued a death order to the medical team to save the boy's life. However, the boy was too weak after all, and finally passed away after months of unbearable pain. But at the same time that the 15-year-old boy lost his breath of life, the seal of the heavenly curse 5 symbols technique suddenly appeared on his chest. During the activation of countless runes, the curse light of the huge resentment was absorbed along the way from Sunagakure to Konoha, slowly blending into the boy's body. In an instant, the Scholar Nimagatama Sharingan opened. Under the astonished gaze of Uchiha-chan's wife, the young man stood up from the ward. Chapter 186, Shiraishi's Forbidden Technique, Part 2. In the Shirogakure Falls, a silver-haired boy walked gracefully on the lake. As the surrounding thoughts wrapped around him, he turned into countless silver butterfly shadows on the dark lake. The young man stood in the middle of the lake and slowly sat cross-legged. The surrounding water flow was under his control, forming special ripples. Wearing the clothes of the Six Paths Ninja sect, holding a white jade ruler, and revealing the face of a young boy under his silver broken hair, the watermelon mountain puffer ghost did not dare to look down on this young man. For a long time, the watermelon mountain blowfish ghost has made many guesses about the boy's identity, but has never been able to guess his true origin. However, as the liaison sent by Sunagakure, the watermelon mountain blowfish ghost still told the relevant information. There have been a series of recent changes in Shirogakure's situation. As the watermelon mountain puffer ghost gently explained, the eyes of the young man on the water were shining with a different look. After pondering for a long time, the boy walked out of the lake. The water shadow may be under the control of someone's magic, otherwise Shirogakure would not be managed in this way. The silver-haired young boy in front of him is, on the surface, Heiyu, a member of the Oniden clan. According to external reports, he is an orphan of the Oniden clan recovered from other places in the Kingdom of Water by the Shirogakure Intelligence Department. After all, in Shirogakure village, the Oniden clan basically almost extinct. Only a few orphans exist. Gui Deng Heiyu has the iconic long silver hair of the Gui Lan clan. Although she is only 16 years old, she has already mastered most of the secret techniques of the Gui Lan clan and many incredible water escape techniques compared to Shiraishi, who dabbles in all kinds of jutsu. Only Tao Heiyu mainly masters water escape and water-based skills, and then develops various combined ninjutsu. During this period, natural energy is also mainly focused on strengthening water control. The so-called identity of the Ghost Lantern clan, in the eyes of the Watermelon Mountain Fugu Ghost, is an identity fabricated by the Fifth Kazekage, endorsed by himself, the head of the Shirogakure Intelligence Department. The Ghost Lantern clan has long been in dire straits, and no one pays attention to the addition of one more clan member. Not to mention he also masters a large number of secret techniques of the Ghost Lantern clan. But in fact, the original body owner of Giden Heiyu is indeed a member of the Giden clan. Although he does not have the outstanding talents of Giden Manayu, Giden Shuayu and others, he is very compatible with the soul that Shiraishi split a year ago. Ghost Lantern Heiyu is different from the other puppet clones of Shiraishi. He is a real person made of completely flesh and blood, with his own thinking and consciousness. The regeneration cores in his eyes can also connect him with the core thinking network created by Shiraishi. For a long time, Shiraishi's development of the ghost skill curse has been in a stagnant state. As a special spell, there are two different ways to use it, but how to truly exert its effectiveness is what Shiraishi is worried about. However, in this test, Shiraishi unintentionally combined the curse technique with the yin and yang attribute chakra, accidentally separated part of his soul, and then absorbed a large amount of resentment. Possessing a recently deceased orphan of the Ghost Lantern clan. The host's body is found by the soul on its own. When the degree of compatibility is extremely high, the seal of the 5 symbols of the heavenly curse will appear on the body of the young man who has just died. This is how the ghost lamp AI was originally born. The separated soul is still part of the original soul. The unexpected development of the curse technique gave Shiraishi a better understanding of the ghost skills in the glasses system. The total amount of souls remains unchanged, and the part of the soul that is divided will weaken Baisha's body, and at the same time there will be greater favorable factors. The upper limit of this move can be converted into up to 5 cursed souls, corresponding to 5 chakra attributes. Ghost Lantern Heiau is the first special body seizing clone with water attributes to split off. Theoretically, the maximum number of splits is 5, but in reality, the number of souls that can be split can be maintained at up to 4, because the 5th split may cause Shiraishi's soul consciousness to become dormant and self-sealed, and cannot be revived until the 5 souls return. These separated souls can independently practice, improve and become stronger. Once they return to the original body in the future, Shiraishi's own soul will become stronger and more vigorous. On the other hand, even if the main body dies, as long as the split body still exists, there is a chance of resurrection. Orochimaru's reincarnation technique and Shiraishi's 5 symbols technique are essentially soul type techniques, except that Shiraishi first splits himself and destroys his soul, and then strengthens himself in a big way. Separating his soul once, Shiraishi suffered a lot of pain. Every time he casts the 5 symbols of heavenly curse, there must be an interval of more than a year, otherwise his soul will not be able to bear the collapse. The power of the 5 symbols technique of the heavenly curse lies in the fact that the split soul is grown and tempered as a single body and there is no upper limit. Once the split body dies, the soul containing all the chakra of his life will directly return to the white stone body through spiritualism. It is similar to an upgraded version of the technique that uses shadow clones to practice and gain experience stacks. This is the forbidden art of heavenly curse and 5 symbols developed by Shiraishi. The news that Uchiha Cham's son had awakened quickly spread throughout Konoha and the Uchiha family. However, due to the embarrassing status of the Uchiha Kagami clan, the clan sent people to watch and then ignored it. As for Konoha, the talent and ability of Uchiha Cham's son are far inferior to those of Uchiha Cham's nephew Shizu, so he is also very cold. Since he can successfully save Cham's son, it can be considered as repaying Konoha's guilt towards him. In addition, Uchiha Cham's son was already averagely talented, so he quickly became indifferent. I finished eating at Uchiha-san's house, facing her mother's care. Uchiha-kid calmly put down the dishes. Feng, do you want to go out? Looking at Uchiha-kid's mother's eyes, the new Uchiha-kid's mind is now in an extremely chaotic state. Although he has Shiraishi's consciousness, he is an independent personality, and he has received a lot of past Uchiha-kid memories. Therefore, it is still in a state of chaos. Reading www.ukanshu.net. Well, I need to practice. The heavenly curse 5 symbols technique is between corpse control and body seizing, and it also contains a special ninjutsu with the nature of a clone technique. Currently, Uchiha-kid is no different from an ordinary person. The cells in his body are showing signs of activation. He is not as lifeless as a zombie body. The majestic vitality was actually produced by absorbing the reverse of so many huge resentful spirits. Such a unique curse compared with the last time he accidentally created the ghost lamp Heiau. This time Shiraishi was fully prepared for the birth of Kid Uchiha. Even the power of the blue flame was engraved into his soul to strengthen his control over the fire attribute chakra. But your body has just recovered. I need to take on tasks in exchange for awards. It's impossible to rely on the tribe to take care of us. Although Uchiha-san's wife is a member of the Uchiha tribe, she is not a ninja. Everything in the family requires Kid Uchiha, a jounin, to go out and take on tasks to make ends meet. Regarding her son's words, Uchiha-san's mother's face darkened and she sobbed softly. Chapter 187, Uchiha-kid. Konoha Village, Uchiha Training Ground, Uchiha-kid who merged with Shiraishi's consciousness, stood alone in it point as an independent conscious individual. Although Uchiha and Shiraishi's conscious souls are originally one, they exist independently, so their personality and temper are slightly different from their original bodies. The 4 shurikens were quickly projected out. During the sound of flying across the air, Uchiha opened his 2 Megatama Sharingan eyes, gaining great dynamic vision and observation power. After capturing the movement trajectory of the shurikens, he quickly projected them. He fired 3 kunai, corrected the shuriken's deviation, and finally hit the target point for the Uchiha clan. It is one of the most powerful families in the ninja village of Konoha in the Land of Fire. It is famous for its Sharingan, one of the 3 major pupil techniques according to what Shiraishi learned from Asura. Uchiha was actually a descendant of Indra, the eldest son of the Sage of 6 Paths. He inherited the Eye of the Sage and jointly established the Leaf Village with the Senju clan at the end of the Warring States period point after the final battle between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. The mentality of the Uchiha clan changed. Gradually revealed his dissatisfaction with the Senju's dominance of Konoha point. Some tribesmen began to compete for important positions in Konoha, trying to dismantle the dominance of the Senju family, and even plotted to become the Hokage's throne. The Senju and other ethnic groups are even more resentful of Uchiha Madara's rebellion. They have lost trust in Uchiha and their estrangement is growing day by day point. After the first generation Hokage Senju Hashirama passed away, the second generation Hokage Senju Tobirama wanted to avoid causing trouble to Ye Cang, but at the same time he could not kill all Uchiha. The Konoha police force was then established, and the main positions were all held by Uchiha tribesmen. This not only expressed trust in Uchiha, but also allowed them to observe Uchiha's every move. Since then, the Uchiha clan's fame and power in Konoha have reached their peak point. Time has passed, and although the Uchiha clan has been entrusted with important responsibilities by Konoha, the whole clan has become increasingly far away from the core of power. The clan was quite dissatisfied with the top management of Konoha, but before the Ninetales incident broke out, this conflict would not completely intensify. The territory of the Uchiha clan is very large, almost equivalent to an autonomous area in Konoha. The training ground, where Uchiha is located, is actually one of the dozens of training ground facilities of the Uchiha clan. As a descendant of the Uchiha mirror line, Uchiha situation is not as good as that of his cousin Shizu. Just because he does not show enough talent, neither Konoha nor the Uchiha clan will value him. But as a split body of Shiraishi's Tenshu 5 symbols technique, Uchiha obtained a large number of fire skills from the main body, including King Yan. The main body did not practice fire skills, because the number of skills he mastered was too large, and he was unable to practice the fire system more deeply. He could only focus on the scorching escape Kingshan style. Uchiha is different. The blood successor of the Uchiha clan makes his body naturally suitable for using various fire escape techniques. Currently, the number of fire skills suitable for Uchiha to master in the glasses system is very large, and he has learned 10 fire skill cards. Uchiha, who was standing in the center of the training ground, quietly felt the flow of his chakra. At the moment of excitement, a layer of faint blood red fire appeared around Uchiha, surrounding himself. Surrounded by the flames, Uchiha took a step forward. In an instant, it was like a flaming meteor sweeping out, and the grass under his feet was scorched. It was an astonishing speed. Fire escape charged flame attack. The split body is one with Shiraishi's original body. The fire escape technique practiced by the split body will also be calculated into the proficiency of the main body. This time, the first technique Uchiha learned and trained was the charged flame attack. This move of charged flame attack is similar to high speed movement. While the whole body is wrapped in flames, it performs ninjutsu-like techniques, but its own speed will become faster and faster. It is a fire-based offensive technique that integrates attack and assistance. During the high-speed flashing process, Uchiha suddenly shot out a flame chain from his palm, which turned into dozens of burning bright red chains under his control and instantly hit the target. In the process of burning the red flame lock and destroying the target, Uchiha's Sharingan Megatama continued to rotate. Analyzing and observing the second fire escape and flame whip that he had just used. Avoid all kinds of redundant actions during your next attack. The flame whip has a strong ability to corrode flames. It can use high temperatures to weaken the opponent's physical defense. It has an extremely fast attack speed and is very effective when combined with its own energy charged flame attack point. Currently, Keyed Uchiha mainly practices 3 skills. In addition to the 2 moves just now, the last move in an instant, Uchiha Keyed's fist burned with a ball of explosive high temperature energy. Matching the speed of the charged flame attack, he rushed towards the target at an extremely fast speed. The high temperature burning on his fist exploded instantly, like a rock flow impact. Point devoured by the huge fire, the target in front of him was destroyed, and at the same time, huge cracks appeared on the rock wall behind point. Fire release flame fist. This is a high temperature explosive physical attack. It generates huge high temperatures and gathers fists to directly blast at the opponent. It is a surefire method that determines victory or defeat. The flames burning on the fist produce explosive power, somewhat similar to Tsunade's strange power punch. The surrounding flames gradually dissipated, and Uchiha Keyed withdrew his Sharingan. Currently, he mainly uses these 3 techniques to strengthen the speed of his ninjutsu. After all, Uchiha Keyed's chakra volume is not large, so he has to adopt this method way to practice. The flame fist, combined with the charged flame attack and the flame whip, form a trinity of fire escape ninjutsu style. Cousin Feng, what are you doing? A familiar voice appeared on the training ground. Uchiha Shisu, as one of the few companions in the clan who has a good relationship with Keyed, originally planned to find his cousin, to give him a few blessings, but unexpectedly found him practicing on the training ground. But judging from the traces at the scene, my cousin is practicing fire escape. Uchiha Shisu suddenly frowned. Is his cousin still insisting on the fire escape attack style as before? Since it is of the Uchiha mirror lineage, the secret arts that have been handed down the most are mainly teleportation techniques, sword drawing techniques, and illusion techniques. The so-called fire escape is just a means of cover or auxiliary use in conjunction with the sword drawing technique and the teleportation technique, but his cousin has always insisted on practicing the fire escape ninjutsu style, which made Shisu's dissuasion several times useless. I thought he would reflect on this time after surviving the catastrophe, but unexpectedly he still persisted in the fire escape technique. After the atmosphere at the scene fell silent for a while, you read www.ukanhu.net. Uchiha Keyed said, "What do you want from me?" Shisu, nothing, just seeing you recovering. I'm very happy. Originally from the same lineage, Uchiha Shisu felt very sorry for Uchiha Keyed's stubbornness, but the blood connection between the 2 parties made him unable to let go of Keyed, so he still expressed his concern and condolences to him. At the same time, in the Konoha Intelligence Department, Danzo looked at the report about Uchiha Keyed still insisting on practicing fire escape, and then casually threw it aside. Instead of continuing to care, he paid more attention to Uchiha Shisu. What are the recent trends of the 5th Kazekage? 4. Sunagakure's intelligence collection. Danzo is the top priority, because this ninja village is the biggest threat to Konoha. More than half of Danzo's entire intelligence collection is centered around Sunagakure. Several root intelligence officers opened a series of scrolls. Currently, the 5th Kazekage is recruiting investment to improve the living environment of the local residents of Sunagakure village. It seems that it has slacked off on military expansion. Instead of just arming Sunagakure, why not spend a lot of energy improving the living conditions of the villagers? Chapter 188, Ye Cang and Jounin. After Shiraishi completed the initial split of the 5 symbols technique of the heavenly curse and arranged for Uchiha Keyed, he continued to start various basic people's livelihood work. In fact, Danzo and Hirozen Sarutobi had completely opposite views on the fact that the Kazekage's current main focus was on the livelihood of the villagers. Danzo believes that Shiraishi's behavior is stupid. Slowing down Sunagakure's armed forces will inevitably become the key to their decline in the future. After all, it is completely unacceptable to expand various entertainment and people's livelihoods to allow the whole village to enjoy themselves and lose their enterprising spirit. Although the 5th Kazekage is a powerful figure in the ninja world, in this regard he is just like the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. However, the 3rd Hokage did not view this matter this way. Instead, he had listed Aoki Shiraishi as the real life and death enemy of Konoha. A ninja is someone who can be patient and restrained enough. The 5th generation Kazekage can suppress his desire for hegemony in the ninja world and instead improve the living conditions of the villagers, which shows that he is a very strong man who can endure. Such a person is Konoha's true most dangerous opponent. The new Sunagakure village is now brightly lit at night, with various vendors swarming in an endless stream. A large number of goods from various countries have poured into Sunagakure, but the prices are very cheap. In the past, Sunagakure village was poor. Although these small commodities were available, the prices were ridiculously high. Ordinary civilians could not afford these items, not even a bowl of smoothie. It's different now. In addition to Sunagakure's control of the huge maritime trade and the associated price drop, Shiraishi has also initiated the development of many new technologies. Driven by a large number of high-tech industries, the cost of many materials has dropped a lot. All the villagers feel the same about these changes. Compared with the miserable life of Luosha mining to make a living, now there is a strong sense of identity and pride in Sunagakure village. In view of this, Shiraishi wrote a biography of Sunagakure. The entire book praises an unknown hero of Sunagakure, who used his strength and perseverance to achieve the arrival of a new era. Many deeds and catchphrases of the heroes in the book have become the objects of imitation by many people in the village. Using these methods, Shiraishi unites the hearts of the current village little by little. The governing ability of the 5th generation Kazekage has impressed almost the whole world. Although this Kazekage is not enterprising, he is at least a qualified village chief. He has made a fortune and helped the whole village become rich together. Compared with those village chiefs who used to fight, kill, plunder and destroy all day long, Shiraishi and Sunagakure have become gentle, which actually caused Konoha's uneasiness. However, some of Shiraishi's civil affairs measures were deemed suitable for Konoha by the two Hokages. Under the conditions, it also began to be promoted. This approach naturally aroused opposition from some conservative forces within Konoha, but it could not change Namikaze Minato's determination to promote some policies. For a time, Konoha also had a new atmosphere. A large number of ninjas get married and have children, and a baby boom gradually begins to arrive. As the largest village in the ninja world, Konoha has huge heritage and energy, sufficient rest and appropriate policy adjustments. It is not very difficult to catch up with Sunagakure. Shiraishi saw the changes in Konoha, but didn't take it to heart. Konoha has too many constraints, and Namikaze Minato according to future history. This year, Konoha village will suffer from the Ninetales invasion, and enter a very embarrassing period of decline. Therefore, Shiraishi will not worry about Konoha surpassing Sunagakure at all. On the contrary, the distance between the 5 villages will gradually increase in the next 10 years. Nowadays, the residents of Sunagakure village no longer have those annoying sandstorms at night, and they no longer have to worry about the invasion of other villages. They walk carefree on the streets of Sunagakure every day, eat various snacks, and enjoy Sunagakure at night. There are movie theaters one after another, and there are more and more entertainment facilities. The expansion of New Sunagakure village is still going on. In addition to New Sunagakure village itself, Shiraishi is also in 6 other areas in Kusuno country, Koano country, and Wind country. The establishment of new district construction. In addition to the ninja academy in Kusuno country, the other 5 strongholds also set up ninja schools to continuously cultivate the Sunagakure ninja system with the discipline of teaching without distinction. Absorbing a large number of civilians from various countries, replenishing the blood of the entire Sunagakure, and building 6 sub-villages of Sunagakure. These ninjas enjoy the same treatment and organization as the ninjas of Sunagakure village, and their forehead protection is exactly the same. The task assignments are based on the virtual projection of the Kazekage. Come and assign them to enhance their sense of identity with Sunagakure. Exchange meetings between the 7 ninja schools are held regularly every year to strengthen the competitive relationship between them. Although intelligence personnel from other villages will be mixed in, more useful talents can also be selected. In Kazekage's office, Maki brought a hot lunch to Shiraishi's office. Since he became Kazekage, Shiraishi rarely went home to eat, so with a big belly, Maki prepared lunch for Shiraishi every day. Didn't I tell you, don't be too busy with these lunch boxes, I can eat myself. It just these instant noodles. Shiraishi's desk. Many cans of instant noodles were piled in the trash can without even having time to clean them up. As the most diligent Kazekage in history, Shiraishi will be concerned about the progress of almost every project and the improvement of people's livelihood in Sunagakure village. Although Maki works very seriously as Kazekage's assistant, he lacks experience in many things and must handle them himself. Just like recently, Shiraishi was negotiating with all parties on the pricing of a batch of special materials shipped from the Kingdom of Thunder. Sometimes Shiraishi spends most of his time at his desk every day without even going home. In this mode, not only Maki is worried, but Ibizo and Chiyo are also very worried about the sudden death of their Kazekage. This is also a joke. Shiraishi is in good physical condition. With the help of special means, he has much more energy than ordinary ninjas, and his body functions are always maintained at their strongest point. Although the Heavenly Curse and 5 Symbols technique has recently made him a little tired, after a period of medical treatment, Shiraishi will soon be able to recover bit by bit. You, kid, who you're adding www.ukanshu.net. Have you become so careless about your family after becoming Feng'ing? Even though Jounin is pregnant and she makes lunch for you, why don't you take care of her? Ye Cang, dressed in a corset, stepped into Shiraishi's office and spoke to Jounin with a protective look on his face. Both are students of Ye Cang, but Jounin has always been Ye Cang's most beloved disciple and cannot bear to see her feel any grievance. That's not the case with the teacher. He does it all for the village. Once Ye Cang opens his mouth to slander Shiraishi, Jounin will turn around and defend her husband. In her eyes, a husband who is so loved by the villagers is a strong man who stands upright. She is proud of Shiraishi, and although she sometimes feels sorry for his diligence, she doesn't agree with teacher Yekura's statement at all. Faced with Jounin's gesture, Ye Cang was speechless and unable to continue. Shiraishi was very quiet, opened Jounin, brought the lunchbox and food, and said softly, "Thank you for the lunchbox. I'm going to start seeing." Shiraishi eating his own food, Jounin then looked very satisfied and happy, which made Ye Cang feel a little embarrassed and felt a bit dazzling and uncomfortable. Chapter 189, Teacher Ye Cang's Mate Selection Criteria. In Sunagakure village, Shiraishi and Maki walked side by side, holding hands tightly together as they walked on one side of the street. Although Shiraishi could change into casual clothes, basically everyone in the village recognized Kazekage-sama's appearance. Most passers-by and vendors along the way recognized that Kazekage-sama and his wife were dating, but they were still very polite and made time for the Kazekage and his wife. The whole village is aware of Shiraishi's diligent work. It is rare that he has time to accompany him out, and everyone responds with the greatest kindness. Ye Cang was the only one, following the two students, always feeling that her own existence was very unnecessary. Of course, there is also an orange cat accompanying you. Since he agreed to go shopping together, Shiraishi also brought out the fat orange cat. Even though this guy has lost weight recently, his weight has not declined. The fleshy bull-like body seemed to be rolling a ball on the ground. Zyadachu walked twice and lay down on the ground, rolled twice, then reluctantly got up, and then repeated the action. Ye Cang couldn't stand it anymore, so he picked up Zyadachu and walked on the road. The latter was very obedient and did not resist. He lay gently on Ye Cang's head and squinted his eyes to look around. "I think it's time to find a suitable marriage partner for Mr. Ye Cang." Jounin also noticed that the teacher looked unnatural and whispered in Shiraishi's ear, which was met with a helpless smile from Master Kazekage. Flame release. Ye Cang has a very high status in Sunagakure village. As the teacher of the past 5 generations of Kazekage, coupled with her excellent fire escape skills and Ye Cang's irritable personality, she has the strength to stay single in Sunagakure for many years. The elders arranged for several jounin to come into contact with Ye Cang, but they were all beaten up by Ye Cang's uodun. Ye Cang, who had a huge fireball burning in his hand, said with arrogance, "If you can't defeat me, then you are not qualified to marry me." Currently, among Sunin ninjas, there is almost no male jounin among his peers who can steadily surpass Hayakura in strength. To be precise, looking at the entire village, except for the two Kazekages, Ilyusha and Shiraishi, no one said they could definitely win against Ye Cang. Jounin was a little helpless about the teacher's ability to be single, but Ye Cang was not someone who cared about such things, not to mention there were a lot of single ninjas in the ninja world, so he just went with the flow. Although Shiraishi's body and Jounin and others are dating. In the office, Shiraishi arranged for his own puppet to handle official duties. The focus of the work at this stage is to discuss the details of the 5 films conference. There is still some time before the 5 Shadows conference is held. Since the conference will be held in the Kingdom of Iron, all parties are confirming the final meeting time. During this process, there is constant wrangling. Taking advantage of this moment, Shiraishi mainly focuses on the Kingdom of Grass. After the Outer district of the Kingdom of Rain and part of the Kingdom of Sichuan were divided into the Kingdom of Wind, the southern border of the Kingdom of Grass directly bordered the Kingdom of Wind. This also caused the problems that originally revolved around the Kingdom of Rain, the Kingdom of Fire, and the Kingdom of Earth. The country of Grass suddenly faced a situation surrounded by the top 4. The wars in the land of Grass have never stopped, and the factions within the Grass Ninja village have connections with various major powers. The rise of the Sand Ninja forces was a major change that was never expected in the country of Grass. With the outer area completely controlled by Sunagakure, giant silver pyramids were built on the southern border of the country of Grass. After a large number of Sand Ninja troops were stationed, it caused huge chain reaction. Among them, the Lord of Ghost Lantern City Wu Wei even sent many envoys to have tentative contact with the Sand Ninja. Ghost Light City is a place where the 5 major ninja villages jointly entrusted Koin village to detain important prisoners. As the strongest elite jounin in Koin village, the city owner Wu Wei is famous in the ninja world for his proficiency in the art of escaping from the sky prison with fire. As a being entrusted by the 5 major ninja villages, there is no doubt about Wu Wei's strength. In fact, Shiraishi was looking for Ghost City because, according to Orochimaru's information, the remaining members of the Uzumaki clan had been imprisoned in Ghost City. Since Ghost Light City is equivalent to an autonomous territory in the country of Grass, the city owner is not weaker than the leader of the Grass Ninja, so he takes the initiative to say hello to the Sand Ninja, and the purpose of doing nothing is self-evident. At present, Shiraishi was worried that he did not have a suitable opportunity to intervene in the Kingdom of Grass. After the Lord of Ghost Lantern City showed enough friendship and goodwill, Shiraishi immediately seized the opportunity and sent an official letter. The 5th generation Kazekage Shiraishi is about to visit Oni Lantern Castle soon. Sunagakure's official documents were placed on the desk of the city Lord of Ghost Light City, which was tantamount to causing huge waves in the entire Kusanagi kingdom. The visit of Uchiha Madara from the contemporary ninja world, Oni Lantern City and the entire Kingdom of Grass paid great attention to it. The daimyo of Grass Country even assigned several commissioners to go to Oni Lantern City to receive Shiraishi together with the Lord of Wu Wei City. The response from the Grass Ninja village was very dull. Currently, most of the senior officials are mainly pro-Konoha faction, so the visit to Suna Ninja was neither welcomed nor opposed. In fact, Kusanagi village has always had some mysterious self-confidence. They have always promoted that they have the potential and development space to surpass the 5 major villages, but they are relatively low-key and do not want to destroy the peace of the ninja world, so they do not compete with the 5 major ninja villages. Therefore, the ninjas who come out of the Grass Ninja have very strong self-confidence. Even in other countries, they will show the style of great ninjas, but the number of Grass Ninjas who are killed instantly is still very large. As for Wu Wei, he is completely an anomaly among Grass Ninjas. The Ghost Lantern City is its own lineage within the Grass Ninja village, and its relationship with the Grass Ninja village headquarters is on an equal footing. On weekdays, when the daimyo convenes to discuss matters, they are all invited by Ghost Light City and Kusaku Ninja Village. The status of this city Lord Wu Wei in the country of Grass is basically the same as that of the leader of the Grass Ninja Village. Because of this reason, the Grass Ninja Village will naturally not support this matter. Isn't this self-inflicted humiliation? Maybe Feng Ying doesn't know that Ghost Light City is an organization under the name of the Grass Ninja Village. In the era of the 6 Paths Immortals, there was an ultimate weapon, the Box of Bliss, left behind. The special thing was that there were 4 different faces on all sides, namely, joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. The box comes with a special spell point. It is said that the Kazekage village of later generations almost gained the whole world through it. It was born with enlightenment, moved with enlightenment, and ended with enlightenment. However, the conditions for opening the box of bliss are very stringent. There is no chakra comparable to the Jinchuriki level. Unable to break the spell point in addition to expressing doubts about the real existence of the box of bliss, Shiraishi also received another news. In Ghostlight City, a group of Uzumaki clan members from the country of destruction were imprisoned. On the outskirts of Wuin village. Reading www.ukanshu.net. The ruins of the Ghost Lantern clan. Holding a ruler, Gui Deng Heiau checked that there were no other tribesmen around, and then began to search and find the entire Gui Deng old site. Since the death of Gui Deng Manu in the battle, the glory of the Gui Deng clan has long disappeared. As a branch of the Gui Deng clan, Gui Deng Heiau was not qualified to enter the Gui Deng clan ruins, but now that the entire family is in poverty, they no longer care about these rules. In order to learn more about the secret skills of the Gui Deng clan, Gui Deng Heiau was reading relevant information and books in this desolate ruins. The situation in Shirogakure is getting more and more chaotic. The rule of the 4th generation of Mizukage can almost be described as insane. The suppression of the blood family in the village has even triggered a series of rebellions. The clan members of Ghost Lantern Manu participated in it and were suppressed by Shuang. They were massacred. Currently, the whereabouts of only one Ghost Lantern Shuyu are still unknown. The entire remaining site of the Gui Deng clan is in a very dilapidated state. Today, Gui Deng Heiau appears here. The main purpose is to find the whereabouts of a batch of remaining skill cards using the positioning system of the main body glasses. Ghost Deng Heiau collected these skill cards scattered outside the country of water. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190, Little Temari. Erishi, can the confinement regarding the Iroquois family be lifted? In Sunagakure's intelligence department, Shirogakiji looked at Iroquois Erishi with a bit of embarrassment. The punishment of the Iroquois family during this period has been severe enough. The Noda family is now in pieces, and only Iroquois Meru is left to support it independently. As the leader of the jounin class, Shirogakiji currently has 3 jounin from the Iroquois family under his command. They are still in a state of imprisonment. Many seals have been set on their bodies, and even normal genin level chakra cannot be extracted. Such a punishment was completely excessive in the eyes of Shirogakiji. These 3 jounin had always performed well in the jounin class. Although they had Iroquois family background, they had never had any problems at work. Iroquois Erishi's crazy revenge on the Iroquois family, severely suppressing everyone and anything related to the family. This crazy revenge mode finally made Shirogakiji unable to stand it anymore, and he personally talked to Iroquois Erishi. They were originally members of the Iroquois family who used a special deal to enter the jounin class. There is no problem in punishing them now. Facing Shirogakiji, Iroquois Erishi didn't give any face and directly rejected the other party's request without thinking. You looking at Iroquois Erishi with wide eyes, Shirogakiji could hardly believe his ears. He didn't understand at all why Iroquois Erishi wouldn't even let 3 ordinary jounin go. The Iroquois family is the enemy of Lord Kazekage. You cannot be too kind to your enemies. Seeing that Shirogakiji didn't understand, Iroquois Erishi explained gently, but as the leader of the jounin class, Shirogakiji didn't agree with this statement at all. The Iroquois family is also part of Sunagakure, and the punishment given to them at the beginning was enough. Not enough. Far from enough. Closing the documents in his hand, Iroquois Erishi ignored Shirogakiji and walked out of the door. The scene where Iroquois Akita wantonly killed his companions and cut off his head and gave it to Shiraishi as an apology has long become Iroquois Erishi's nightmare. He will not let go until the Iroquois family is completely liquidated. Watching Iroquois Erishi disappear into the background, Shirogakiji clenched his fists and gradually loosened his fists. Regarding Shiraishi's persistence, he could not change everything. He originally planned to go to Kazekage's office to talk to Shiraishi about the matter, but in the end he shook his head as Shiraishi's brother. Shirogakiji should have supported him unconditionally in everything. In the past, Shirogakiji saw the conflicts between the two sides. Although they later eased the conflicts, Maru's wrong actions gave Shiraishi enough excuses, which ultimately led to the current situation of the family tragedy. In fact, this is an inevitable result. Shiraishi's attitude towards the Sand Release 3 element was clearly known to the City Wall Division. If it hadn't been for Yamajiling's last battle that Shiraishi owed to the Yamaji family, otherwise both families would have been punished today. In contrast to the desolation of the Iroquois family, the Yamaji family is now prosperous. Yamaji Moharu is currently the monitor of the Sunagakure barrier class, and is responsible for maintaining the second layer of barrier protection outside the new Sunagakure village. A large number of business projects were handed over to the Shanlu family. Shanlu Zaochan's personal business ability was very good. He completed a round of large-scale orders for Zinsha Hidden Village, and brought huge wealth and income to Fengying. Shanji Zaoharu's ability is even more outstanding than that of Shanjilingzi in the past, and Shiraishi's rejection of the Yamaji family has turned into a valuable one. Among the three sand ninjas, the family behind Rasa has long since withered away. The Yamaji and Iroquois families have prospered and declined, almost entirely due to Kazekage's thoughts, which is enough to reflect Shiraishi's current authority within the Sand Ninja. Brother Yoshamaru. One day, Shiraishi was handling official business in the Kazekage's office when he saw Yoshamaru coming in hand with a little girl, and he suddenly looked happy. Haha, Master Kazekage, I'm here to hand in the mission report today. After handing Shiraishi the mission, Yoshamaru continued to lower his head and coax the pink and tender blonde girl in front of him. Yoshamaru's mission this time was not a combat type, and during this time Ratsa went out to look for mineral veins, so the mission of taking care of Temari, Kankuro and Gaara fell on Yoshamaru again. Gaara is currently with Granny Chiyo for further observation. Kankuro is being looked after by a nursing staff at home, and little Temari likes to join in the fun, so Yoshamaru takes her with her to find the Kazekage to submit the mission report. Little Temari has grown so big. 2 years ago, Temari was just a little kid waiting for food, but now she can walk and talk normally. Seeing Shiraishi wearing the Kazekage costume, little Temari was a little scared, so she hid behind Yoshamaru and watched the Kazekage carefully. In response, Yoshamaru smiled and picked up the little lolly. Little Temari, my name is Kazekage-sama. Hello, Kazekage-sama. Although she was a little scared, little Temari still obeyed her uncle's words very obediently and spoke according to the greetings she remembered. Looking at little Temari in front of him, Shiraishi suddenly remembered Gaara's other child, and turned around and asked, is Gaara's condition not stable yet? Well, Shukaku's seal is still in an unstable state, and it is difficult to suppress it. One-tailed Shukaku is the most proficient in sealing among the tailed beasts, so conventional Jinkriki sealing methods have limited effect on suppressing him. In addition, he has a violent personality, which often leads to signs of going berserk. In order to deal with this problem, Granny Chiyo and Abizo stayed by Gaara's side almost 24 hours a day, assisting the young body in suppressing the existence of the tailed beast. This greatly consumes the energy of the two elders, which is something Shiraishi cannot understand. Perhaps in his opinion, the existence of a Jinchuriki is not necessary, because not only is the Jinchuriki's control of the tailed beast not as stable as imagined, on the contrary, it will bring chaos. In view of this, Shiraishi decided to go to Gaara's nursing room to reconfirm the Jinkriki issue. In the special barrier of Sunagakure village, surrounded by countless sealing talismans, Gaara, who was still a baby, kept crying in the secret room. At this moment, a very crazy chakra energy appeared, making his cry even louder. Just when Shiraishi entered the special barrier, Shukaku's chakra seemed to seize the opportunity and turned into an energy vortex to attack Shiraishi. Chiyo was helpless when he saw this scene. Shukaku seemed to dislike Shiraishi's appearance. Faced with the provocation of Ichibi Shukaku to create chakra, Shiraishi spread his fingers and quickly crushed the attack in front of him. Shukaku's power is nothing more than this, as Soon as Shiraishi opened his mouth, Granny Chiyo and the others were dumbfounded. Dear Kazekage-sama, please stop making trouble. There is no point in provoking Shukaku at this time. On the contrary, it will cause harm to Gaara. It was obvious that Shiraishi's taunt deeply stimulated Shukaku's self-esteem. Suddenly, dust and wind were raging everywhere in the room, and his chakra was in a state of mad rage. Human, you are so brave. How dare you provoke me? Provocation? Are you qualified? Looking for death in the next period of time, Shiraishi needs to leave Sunagakure to visit the country of grass, and then arrive in the country of iron to attend the 5-Kage conference. Before that, he must deal with Shukaku's problem 8. Chapter 191. Are you convinced? Shukaku was sealed in Gaara's body and existed in a medium mode, which caused the Jinchuriki to not sleep at night. Otherwise Shukaku would be awake. Many Jinchurika's emotional irritability has always been related to this. Normally, the Jinchurika's spirit suppresses the tailed beasts, but when the Jinchuriki sleeps, Shukaku, who is in the psychic state, will wake up. The reason why the psychic sealing mode is adopted is because Shukaku is very accomplished in sealing techniques, and it is difficult to restrain and suppress him with traditional sealing techniques. Sunagakure's sand control technique originally originated from Shukaku's ability. Especially the magnetic escape sand control technique of the third generation of sand escape, which was a secret technique that was developed through research and improvement. Gaara is still a child, which is the most unstable period for suppressing Shukaku, so Chiyo Warata needs to be by his side at all times to suppress the rampaging tailed beast, otherwise it will cause a catastrophe. This is also the reason why Shiraishi strongly opposes letting such young children become Jinchuriki, as they may not be able to perfectly control Shukaku's power. Boy, you pissed me off. Being looked down upon by a human put Shukaku in a state of frenzy. However, Shiraishi didn't say much. The moment he formed seals with his hands, countless metal sands and silvers came and attacked Shukaku's direction. Wind escape practice blank bullets. A huge ball of wind escape energy was shot out, but Shiraishi reacted quickly, and the ring suddenly shot out. The dark dimensional hole produced a strong absorption force and forcibly neutralized Shukaku's attack. What kind of weird ninjutsu is this? Being sealed for many years, Shukaku did not have a clear understanding of the changes in the external ninja world. When he faced the Kazekage of Sunagakure village for the first time, he saw some incomprehensible ninjutsu. Time and space ninjutsu. Shukaku looked rough, but he was actually delicate inside. He stared at the ring on Shiraishi's hand and became cautious for a moment. This guy's clothes and appearance should be the so-called Kazekage. Unexpectedly, this generation of Kazekage is a bit difficult to deal with. Although the previous Kazekage could use magnetic escape to suppress Shukaku's strength, this did not mean that Shukaku thought they were powerful. On the contrary, the young Kazekage in front of him felt very dangerous to Shukaku. Although Shukaku has now become a complete form, the prestige generated by Shukaku's rampage in the huge sealed chamber made it unbearable for many ninjas in the medical team around him. After Shiraishi motioned for them to retreat, only himself and Granny Chiyo were left on the scene. And 2 sand ninja jounin. The entire secret room is very large and can at least accommodate a complete Shukaku running around. It can be seen that Sunagakure has spent a lot of thought on the condition of the Jinchuriki. With a loud explosion, Shiraishi took action. At the moment of forming the seal, countless sand silver turned into a huge silver hand. Under Shukaku's angry gaze, he pressed Shukaku's body with one palm. The huge hand of sand carried so much pressure that Shukaku was almost breathless and unable to resist this domineering force. Damn it, you think it's just trivial? Before he finished speaking, countless magnetic needles made of sand silver penetrated into Shukaku's body. Just like Shiraishi used to deal with Vulpix, countless current fluctuations were introduced into Shukaku's body, creating a powerful electromagnetic sealing technique. The scream sounded, and Shukaku's entire face was distorted. However, Shiraishi did not end his offensive. The silver sand in his hands turned into 5 giant pillars, which instantly penetrated Shukaku's body. Shiraishi stepped on one of the pillars and looked at Shukaku below with an indifferent expression. Are you convinced, stupid human being? You can never make me surrender. Shukaku was also angry. Such tone and eyes reminded him of a very annoying human being. The power of sand and dust around him boiled again. Trying to break Shiraishi's suppression point, there was a huge explosion, and the power of a vast lightning strike swept over him. As a super lightning escape technique that kept pace with King Yan, when the energy of the lightning strike struck Shukaku's whole body, the giant-tailed beast in front of him let out a painful cry. A lightning strike is not just a simple phantom thunder. The destructive power itself is very shocking. The damage to Shukaku is also a physical and mental impact. "Are you convinced?" asking Shukaku for the second time. If he was convinced, the force under Shiraishi's feet increased again, and the huge sand pillar forcefully pierced half of Shukaku's head. The other sand ninja present were dumbfounded by his ferocious style. It's amazing how he suppressed Shukaku in just one face-to-face encounter. As Chiyo's guard, the jounin next to him is about 50 years old, and his strength is at the elite jounin level. He has been following Chiyo, but he did not participate in the Battle of Konoha's invasion of Sunagakure, and he still has a vague concept of Shiraishi's strength. Although the previous Kazekages have suppressed Shukaku, there has never been a magnetic escape that subdued Shukaku in person. Both the third Kazekage and the fourth Kazekage had to pay a certain price to control Shukaku point, but the fifth Kazekage's method, using a simple violent method, completely defeated Shukaku point. Facing a terrifying monster like Shiraishi, Shukaku finally couldn't hold on and retreated voluntarily. Then Gaara suddenly burst into tears. The baby woke up again, and Shukaku's body finally began to collapse. "Haha, I won't play with you anymore." Watching Shukaku return to Gaara's body, Shiraishi formed the seal. In an instant, countless special runes surrounded Gaara's belly, forming a brand new electromagnetic quicksand seal point in the special consciousness space. Shukaku discovered one thing to his horror. He was still impaled by 5 pillars, and countless tiny sand silver needles continued to pierce his body. "So, are you convinced or not?" Shiraishi's voice rang in Shukaku's ears again, like thunder on the ground, making Shukaku turn pale. As a phantom thunder, the lightning strike interfered with Shukaku's conscious world. As soon as it hit Shukaku, "I'm convinced the situation is stronger than the tailed beast." Yu reads www.okanshu.net. Although Shukaku could be resurrected as a very precious animal, Shukaku did not want to die for no reason, and finally chose to compromise with humans in the real world. Shiraishi completed the arrangement of the second layer of seals on Gaara. After all the operations were completed, the surrounding Chiyo guards looked at Shiraishi with even more awe. "This kind of seal won't last long. This time I went to Ghost Lantern City in the country of grass. There was news about the orphans of the Uzumaki clan. Maybe I can get some special sealing techniques from them." The sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan is famous in the ninja world. Even the 9-tailed beast, the strongest among the tailed beasts, can be perfectly sealed, which is enough to illustrate the ability of the Uzumaki clan. If it's news about the Uzumaki clan, it's indeed worth going to the country of grass. Chiyo also heard about Shiraishi's grand visit to Oniden Castle as the Kazekage. She had always been puzzled to understand the Kazekage's purpose. Combined with the information about the Uzumaki clan, Chiyo understood Shiraishi's purpose of visiting Oniden Castle. Oni Lantern Castle is built on an island in the middle of the isolated inland sea of the Kingdom of Grass. The climate environment is similar to Shirogakure, and it is an isolated island in the country. Chapter 192, Discovery of the Ghost Lantern Ruins. In the process of comforting Gaara and letting him sleep well, Shukaku temporarily did not dare to cause trouble, and then let Chiyo and others get some rest point. After returning to Kazekage's office, Shiraishi learned from Maki that the daimyo's special envoy had arrived at Sunagakure and accompanied Shiraishi to attend the Land of Grass and the Land of Iron. Kazekage's mission to the country of grass is a big event, but the arrangement of both parties requires the diplomatic office of the country of wind to handle it. Otherwise, if there is a problem with etiquette, it will only make Sunagakure and the country of wind become a joke to other countries. Although Kazekage didn't care, but the daimyo attached great importance to these face-saving projects. Ninjas are not engaged in production and management. Many problems require assistance from the daimyo level. The relationship between Sunagakure village and the country of wind is not just an economic need. There have been some small countries in history where ninja village overthrew the local daimyo and governed the country on their own, but the result was very tragic. Because ninjas cannot manage a country at all. Foreign military wars are okay, but in some public management, without a large number of bureaucrats, ninja management will only lead to chaos in the country. What's more, the number of ninjas in each ninja village cannot fill the gaps in a country's bureaucratic level. The existence of daimyo and the entire feudal class is precisely a kind of adjustment. If the status quo is to be changed, many things cannot be accomplished without planning for more than 10 years. Sometimes Shiraishi doesn't want all Kazekage matters to be done on his own, but in fact there is currently no qualified staff member in Sunagakure village, except Maki. Basically, the management of each village are mostly retired ninjas who are over 50 years old. It is not without reason. In fact, even if this is the case, can these older ninjas really manage a village well? For example, Konoha's Danzo and several Hokage advisors are very good at conspiracy, but it would be very difficult for them to govern Konoha village properly. This is just a village, not an entire country. The country of the wind and the daimyo, Sunagakure village and the Kazekage. This dualistic ruling pattern of one country and one village has not been broken over the years. It was not Shiraishi's intention to do everything by himself, but there were so many things going on in the village that he had to handle everything. Especially the establishment of 5 other districts controlled by Sunagakure village has increased the workload of the Kazekage-sama several times. But on the other hand, the existence of the daimyo class is also very serious for local exploitation. There are also a lot of nobles who exploit the common people and dominate them. The contradictions and confrontations between various classes are serious, leading to constant disputes. In troubled times, unifying the ninja world is originally a very broad term. If these contradictions and difficulties cannot be fundamentally changed, then after the death of those strong men who shocked all parties in the contemporary era, they will continue to fall into the warring states. Therefore, deep in Shiraishi's heart, his own goal of unifying the ninja world is to fundamentally change the vicious cycle of the ninja world for thousands of years, and create a truly peaceful world for generations outside Sand. Hidden village. Several envoys from the Kingdom of Wind were sitting on both sides with serious faces, waiting for Lord Kazekage to arrive. In terms of their attitude towards the 5th Kazekage, several envoys waited with great respect, and there was absolutely no dissatisfaction due to Shiraishi being late. As Sunagakure village became more and more powerful, Shiraishi, as the military leader second only to the daimyo in the Land of Wind, controlled the strongest armed forces in the country. So naturally the envoys did not dare to neglect anything. Soon Shiraishi put on the Kazekage hat and, accompanied by Arashi Arakura and Tsukasa Shirogakiji, arrived at the gate of the village. There was no communication or conversation between Shirogakiji and Arakura Arashi along the way. Apparently, after the last incident, Shiraishi, the 2 right-hand men, had a certain gap between each other. I have kept several adults waiting for a long time. This is our responsibility. Several old envoys knelt down to greet Shiraishi and treated Shiraishi with the highest etiquette for treating a daimyo in the country, which is enough to illustrate the power of this generation of Kazekage. The chariot prepared for Shiraishi by the daimyo of the Land of Wind in front of him, or to be precise, the sedan, is a warm sedan style with curtains, suitable for 4 people to carry. Haha, I can be considered as enjoying the treatment of the princes and nobles in the country for once, Beishi said with a smile, but his body showed no signs of movement, which caused sweat to drip from the foreheads of several envoys. Hearing what Shiraishi said, one of the envoys became very frightened and explained, Master Kazekage is joking. Your military exploits for the Kingdom of Wind cannot be compared to those guys. Ordinary princes and nobles are not qualified to enjoy it. The daimyo rides on the Ikaka class, and the 2 flower classes a style that only the legal successors of the daimyo are eligible to ride. In addition, the Kazekage is also eligible to receive this treatment. However, in the past few years in the Kingdom of Wind, in addition to the 1st Kazekage, there are only 5 Kazekages. Movers deserve such serious attention. As a child of a big family, Arakura Arashi knew all about these sects. After gently stepping forward to explain to Shiraishi, Shiraishi finally got on the sedan and headed to the land of grass. The ruins of the Oniden clan in the Kingdom of Water are actually a very large area. During the period when the Oniden clan was most prosperous in the past, it covered a very large area and was the most powerful family in Shirogakure Point. Nowadays, the glory of the Ghost Lantern clan is no longer there, and the wreckage and broken walls that can be seen everywhere bear witness to the past of an era. Oni Dengheiyu has been lurking here for several days. Apart from collecting a few skill cards, he mainly focused on exploring the ruins. After all, it was the most powerful family in Shirogakure in the past, and there might be something valuable inside. At present, civil strife has begun in Shirogakure, and the ghost lamp Heiau is lurking in it, waiting to cause further chaos, allowing Shirogakure to continue bleeding and losing vitality. After a series of searches, just as Gui Dengmanu was preparing to leave the site with a lot of information, another black shadow unexpectedly appeared. He was also surprised that other people appeared at the ruins of the Gui Deng clan. After the man in black mask bumped into Gui Deng Heiau, he shot countless water threads. Water threads, or water attribute chakra threads, are similar to Sunagakure's traditional chakra threads, and both have certain functions of controlling ninja tools or driving puppets. While Gui Deng Heiau was blocking the water thread with one hand, he controlled the invisible water flow with his fingers, deftly defusing the opponent's attack. "Ah, you from the Ghost Lantern clan? Damn it." As soon as he made a move, Gui Deng Heiau's hydration method allowed the masked man in black to recognize the identity of the Gui Deng clan, and his attack immediately became more ruthless. The black air flowing on his palm showed a thrilling murderous intention. Surrounded by the dark air, the water threads condensed into a black water sword, which reflected a cold feeling under the cold chill. Shrouded in murderous intent, Ghost Deng Heiau also showed a wary look in his eyes. A being who can release this level of murderous intent must be a strong body artist. There are only a handful of powerful people of this level in Shirogakure village, but there is no relevant ninja that meets the information in the memories of Heiau and Shiraishi. What's going on? The inexplicable battle, reading www.ukanshu.net, caused huge changes within the Onilan clan. During the process of being surrounded by black water threads, the methods of the man in black mask seemed to be pulling out the darker secrets inside Shirogakure. Suddenly, the black water silk sword suddenly flashed, showing a swordsmanship that almost reached the peak of the physical arts style. Although the sword was powerful, Gui Deng Heiau saw the shadow of Shiraishi's swordsmanship style in the change of this sword. Gui Deng Heiau quickly moved the white jade ruler in her hand to contain the opponent's black water sword attack. However, she saw the masked man in black blast out a whirlwind knife with one hand. The overbearing speed made Gui Deng Heiau take a few steps back. This person was at least a graduate of Sunagakure Ninja School and had studied systematically under Shiraishi's guidance. Otherwise he would not be proficient in such powerful water silk control and whirlwind swords during this period of time. Sunagakure did not send new intelligence personnel into Shirogakure, indicating that this person sneaked into Shirogakure privately and stole the ruins of the Oniden clan. You should be lucky to die under the 5th Kazekage's ninjutsu. Faced with the serial killings of the masked man in black, the regenerative core lightened Deng Heiau's eyes flickered little by little, and the moment it was connected to the supercomputing device, it entered into high-speed calculation deduction. Chapter 193, Shiraishi Style Sword Technique. At the ruins of the Ghost Lantern clan, there is a mysterious masked man in black, with fierce killing moves. Countless water threads in his hands turn into a continuous offensive. The water flow kills so fast that it turns into countless high-speed moving after images facing the attacker. Gui Deng Heiau's eyes were solemn, and a huge water stream condensed on his palm, which instantly turned into 5 high-speed cutting and high-pressure water cannons, attacking the masked man at extremely fast speeds. High-pressure cutting water flow in an unexpected move. The attacker's water threads and water flow collided together, resulting in a huge explosion, but the speed of the cutting water flow continued unabated. The powerful impact of water forcefully opened 5 cracks on the ground, The ghost lamp AI who controlled all this looked at the slightly embarrassed mysterious masked man with cold eyes. Why have I never seen this kind of water escape technique before? Is this the secret technique of the Ghost Lantern clan? Ever since Aoki Shiraishi's black mist became famous in the ninja world, Onin Jinjutsu's water escape secret technique has become a hot topic in Shirogakure village. It is obvious that all Shirogakure believe one thing. Shiraishi must have learned from the second generation Mizukage occult point over the years. The Mist Ninja search has never stopped, but the harvest has been very small. The ruins of the Ghost Lantern clan have been searched many times by various parties, but no useful clues have been found. Point has the ghost lamp Heiau in front of him received a complete secret inheritance. In fact, what Gui Deng Heiau used was not the secret technique of the Gui Leng clan, but the water escape and water flow rupture from the Beishi skill card. Point just like Uchiha Kid learns a lot of fire escape skill cards. Only Tao Heiau's main skills are Shiraishi's water escape skill cards. The water flow breaks, turning the water flow into powerful water pressure, which can form a unique cutting range offensive, and can even easily break the opponent's defense. This move has a similar effect to Uchiha Kid's flame whip. Point it was precisely because of such misunderstandings and coincidences that the mysterious masked man remembered this member of the Ghost Lantern clan. His palms turned into sharp claws, and the wind release beast wave palm attacked Ghost Lantern Heiau forcefully. Point the two sides fought for several minutes at the ruins of the Ghost Lantern clan. Ghost Lantern Heiau quickly formed seals and projected countless flying water shurikens. Upon seeing this, the latter also urged the flying water shurikens to counterattack. Point sure enough, this guy is from Sunagakure. The battle between the two had alerted the personnel of the peripheral Shirogakure intelligence department. Ghost Light Heiau and the mysterious attacker did not dare to continue to entangle. Both sides retreated away from the battlefield. The Ghost Lantern City in the Kingdom of Grass was built on an isolated island in the inland sea, and was named after the Ghost Lantern. What is their connection with the Ghost Lantern clan and the Kingdom of Water? Shiraishi's question seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be a real inquiry regarding the historical origin of the blood family in the Kingdom of Water. Due to various wars, many data and records are incomplete. Point unexpectedly, the envoy who accompanied Shiraishi was very knowledgeable and could answer this question directly. The main group of the Ghost Lantern clan is currently distributed in the Kingdom of Water. However, during the Warring States period, the area where the Ghost Lantern clan was active was the Kingdom of Grass. Later, after various historical changes, most of the Ghost Lantern clan migrated to the Kingdom of Water, the place where the secret technique of water transformation can best exert its power on the battlefield, is naturally an environment like the Kingdom of Water. On the contrary, the geographical location of the Kingdom of Grass cannot allow the Ghost Lantern clan to prosper and develop. The Ghost City was not a prison in the past, but the original family stronghold of the Ghost Lantern clan. After the elderly envoy from the Kingdom of Wind explained the history of the Gui Deng clan with countless treasures, Beishi immediately clarified the relevant clues. So the Lord of Gui Deng City, Wu Wei, should his real name be Gui Deng Wu Wei? That's true. The Ghost Lantern clan moved to the Kingdom of Water, but this does not mean that this clan abandoned Ghost Lantern City, the family's stronghold in the old era. So some members of the clan were left to control this magnificent Ghost Lantern City. Point as time went by, the Gui Deng clan split into the Water Kingdom lineage and the Grass Kingdom lineage. Gui Deng Wu Wei was the clan leader and city lord of the Grass Kingdom lineage. Point my water attribute split body, Ghost Deng Heiau, encountered me in the Kingdom of Water. Through the consciousness network shared by both parties, I, as my own body, recorded everything that just happened under my nose. Let me check. Recently, there are lists of ninjas in various ninja academies who are going on vacation, or going to the Kingdom of Water to perform missions. The ninjas who appear in the ruins of the Onin clan must be Sand Ninja insiders, and they also master the puppet technique and Shiraishi Ryokao technique, which are only taught in most ninja schools. The user identities are either ninja school graduates or teachers in the academy. Point at present, in addition to the local village of Sunagakure, the second school in Nano Country is also a target of suspicion. A group of jounin who joined from outside, including Tokuri Saoji, are all targets of attention. Point regarding Shiraishi's orders. Shiraishi was a meticulous executor. A few hours later, a list was compiled. Among them, the jounins including Maki and Toguri, whom Shiraishi was highly suspicious of, stayed in the academy for classes at the same time. There were no jounin who went out to perform missions in the Kingdom of Water, which was also consistent with the previous memory picture of Oniden Heiau Pointers Guideng Heiau, who has practiced a large number of water escapes and his own water skill cards in Shirogakure village over the past year. Beisha's water escape has also been increased at the same time, and the magic of the 5 symbols of heavenly curse has gradually become apparent. The 5th Kazekage Shiraishi is known as the contemporary Uchiha Madara. In fact, every move he makes attracts attention from all parties inside and outside the village. The various techniques used by Shiraishi Ryu are currently being imitated by new children in Sunagakure village. Even other ninja villages are learning and observing these simple wind escape applications and taijutsu. Many of the sword fighting techniques that Asura taught Shiraishi in the past contain shadows of many contemporary taijutsu and swordsmanship families swordsmanship, and some even have long lost swordsmanship. Even in the camp of the famous Uchiha clan in Konoha, several young men from the Uchiha clan were using long swords to dance. The Shiraishi style swordsmanship. Reading www.ukanu.net. Own move in the Shiraishi style sword technique is very similar to the foreign dance style lost in the Warring States period by the Uchiha ancestors. Therefore, after the senior leaders of the Uchiha clan collected this move, they began to use Sharingan. The eyes were copied and allowed to be practiced by the youths in the clan. Key Uchiha also held a wooden sword and practiced the Shiraishi style sword technique. Although the Sharingan copied the movements, the attack with the wooden sword in his hand was smoother and faster, and he completed it in one go. As Shiraishi's split body, Uchiha Kid is still familiar with ordinary physical skills, but even so, it still amazed the other Uchiha boys who practiced in the clan. Feng's strength seems to have improved a lot. After all, he is Uchiha Cham's son, the son of Lord Hokage's most capable subordinate. Uchiha Kid ignored the gossip. As the wooden sword in his hand rotated rapidly, the attack speed became faster and faster. In the chaotic attack, there were layers of faint fire. He must master this body as soon as possible, otherwise the gap in strength between himself and other split bodies will widen. Chapter 194, Night of Massacre. Uchiha Kid has been relatively low-key in the clan during this period. The reason is that in the early days of the 5 symbols of the heavenly curse, he was still unable to read all the remaining memories of Uchiha Kid. However, as he practiced during this period, he basically in terms of appearance, speech and behavior, Uchiha Kid is no different from the Uchiha Kid of the past. Starting today, you will report to the security department. Don't be as willful as before, Kid. Uchiha's mother looked at her son who was about to go out in the morning and gently cared for him. Although her tone was the same as before, there was a hint of deliberate gentleness in her words. Yeah, I know. Looking at her son's leaving back, Uchiha Kid's mother took off her disguise and sobbed gently. Although he tried his best to restrain himself as usual, as a mother, how could she not tell that her son was 2 different people now and in the past? But Feng's mother did not tell anyone else about this, but suffered it all silently. My family has suffered enough, and telling the clan members now will only make me lose my last hope. What's more, he is also trying hard to play the role of a good son. After silently getting up to clean up everything, Uchiha Kid's mother returned to her home with a pale face. Although she endured all this, the pain of losing her son still left her a little exhausted. Uchiha Kid, who stepped out of her own house, also noticed subtle changes in her mother. She did not reveal that she was a fake. On the contrary, she still tried to treat herself as a son. Kid Uchiha's own emotions showed a slight fluctuation and disorder. In the memory of Shiraishi, there was no concept of parents, because he was an orphan, since he was a child. This extra Uchiha mother made Feng feel very uncomfortable. Every morning she would get up earlier than herself and prepare a breakfast and various foods. Every time she came home, the entire house would be tidy, leaving no trace of dust. Lurking in Konoha is a very dangerous thing. Logically speaking, he should eliminate this threat immediately. However, Uchiha Kid looked at the dinner this woman prepared for him every day and couldn't do it for a while. Let's report to the Uchiha clan guards first. After graduating from the ninja school, as a member of the Uchiha clan, Kid naturally needed to report to the guard. In the past few years, due to his father's relationship, Konoha did not arrange for him to go to the guard. Now after his father's death, Konoha's top brass felt it was troublesome and directly kickballs are usually sent to the guard point. The Uchiha Guard headquarters is a huge institution built outside Konoha City, bordering the Uchiha clan's autonomous territory, symbolizing the Uchiha clan's unique status in the Konoha system. Stepping into the gate of the guard, the two members of the Uchiha clan looked coldly at the young man in front of them holding a recommendation form. The indifference on their faces was self-evident. According to his own memory, Uchiha Kid quickly arrived at the office of the head of the guard, Uchiha Fugaku, the contemporary Uchiha clan leader, and handed the recommendation form in his hand to the clan leader. Uchiha Fugaku was sitting in the guard's office and picked up this recommendation form about Uchiha Kid. You will report to the third team next, without any unnecessary nonsense. Uchiha Fugaku directly stated his appointment. The patrol scope of the third team was mainly within Konoha City. The workload was not large, and it was a casual job. By the way, there will be a small test within the clan in a few days. You should also take part. The Uchiha clan quiz is mainly a comprehensive assessment of the strength of the youth in the clan. Those clan members with outstanding results will receive some powerful ninjutsu as rewards. But, although Kid doesn't like to participate in this kind of assessment, as the clan leader Fugaku invites you, Uchiha Kid has no reason or room to refuse. Ghost Lantern City is a lonely castle standing in the middle of the inner sea of grassland. Shiraishi was riding on a huge wooden ship, feeling the wind and waves of this huge inland sea. In addition to the envoys from the Kingdom of Wind, the Kingdom of Grass also sent several foreign ministers to accompany Shiraishi. Although Shiraishi is only a first-term ninja, as the second-ranking figure in the Kingdom of Wind and the supreme commander of the military armed forces, Shiraishi's influence is greater than that of the daimyo of the Kingdom of Grass. Therefore, the entire Kingdom of Grass does not dare to have any. He was negligent because he was afraid of offending the Kazekage-sama. As the giant ship approached Ghost Lantern City, the majestic and huge castle suddenly came into view. However, the increasingly pungent smell of blood made Shiraishi frown. Lan, go check it out first. Yes, with a flash of sand, Shiraishi stepped on the top of the wall of Ghostlight City, but the scene that caught his eye was that Ghostlight City was filled with a large number of corpses of prisoners and local ninjas, and they were slaughtered, as if they had encountered something terrifying. Before Shiraishi's entire delegation arrived at Ghost Lantern City, this huge city with a long history was attacked by unknown forces. There were also special traces of plants on many corpses, as if they had been attacked by mutant. The Lord of Ghost Lantern City, Wu Wei, stood quietly in the center of the castle. He had black hair, and his eyes had lost their life. Several long black sticks pierced his body, interfering with his chakra, making it impossible for him to unlock it. The prisoners in the city must be restrained, otherwise Ghost Lantern City may still be able to fight. In the Kingdom of Water, Obito Uchiha used Kami to transfer another mysterious masked man to Shirogakure village. At the same time, the scrolls in their hands also sealed the box of bliss from Ghostlight City. The final weapon of the Sage of Six Paths fell directly into Obito's hands before the fight between the masked man and Oniden Heiau. He went to the ruins of the Oniden clan and found the ancestors of the Oniden clan, historical records and information about the control of the box of bliss. After consulting with his collaborator Uchiha Obito, the Oniden castle appeared. The situation of being destroyed. The use of the box of bliss is not just as simple as using the tailed beast chakra. Reading www.ukanshunet as the strongest ninja tool of the Sage of Six Paths. It has even more terrifying uses. In order to prevent the 5th Kazekage from discovering the secret of the box of bliss, Obito Uchiha and the mysterious man took action to destroy the castle before he arrived. The Oniden clan currently has orphans in Shirogakure. There are only Oniden Sujetsu and Oniden Heiau. According to your description, only Oniden Heiau fits the situation. Obito did not tell the masked man in front of him that he had controlled the 4th Mizukage. The two sides were currently only in an alliance and cooperation, and there was no need to disclose some information to him. Oh, Ghost Lantern Heiau. After landing, several envoys looked at the scene of corpses in front of them and suddenly vomited. Beishi was very calm and quickly activated his special perception technique. To explore the entire Ghost Lantern City point there are also a dozen weak breaths of life, 3 of which have very powerful and vigorous chakra point. Sure enough, the attackers were in a hurry when they attacked, so they didn't have time to kill them all. They just made a rough sweep. Since they were left alive, they had to inquire about what happened in Ghost Lantern City just now. Chapter 195, The Orphan of the Whirlpool. The massacre of Ghost Lantern City overnight was a major event that could suddenly change the situation in the Land of Grass. Several ministers from the country of Grass quickly sent people to the Grass Ninja Village to ask for help. While waiting for the recent ninjas from the Grass Ninja Village to arrive, Shiraishi walked silently into the depths of Ghost Lantern City and found the location of the survivors. Based on his own senses, the people who can survive such a large-scale wood-escape piercing technique are probably only the Uzumaki clan members who have such strong vitality point. The sound of violent breathing echoed in the dark corridor. In a cell, 4 red-haired members of the Uzumaki clan were pierced and attacked by countless wooden bolts. 2 of the old men were pierced by a large number of wooden bolt spikes and were vomiting blood. In addition to the 2 old men, there was also a young woman who was pregnant, and beside her was a red-haired boy. He was not injured due to the timely protection of the 2 elders of the clan. Shiraishi looked at the 4 remaining members of the Uzumaki clan in the cell. As for the pregnant Uzumaki clan woman, although she had not been seriously injured under the wooden attack just now, her condition was still not good. The 2 old men used their bodies to block the red-haired boy's most deadly wood escape killing move. Seeing the 2 grandfathers who were closest to him in the clan being hurt like this, the young man's eyes were filled with unbearability. Please, save them. Sensing someone's presence, the boy looked up and saw a ninja wearing a sand ninja forehead protector and stepped forward anxiously for help. With the powerful perception of the Uzumaki clan, they can immediately judge the intention of dealing with him. When he realized that Shiraishi did not have such strong malicious intent, the young man directly asked for help. Both he and his sister have many bite marks on their bodies. It is obvious that the Uzumaki clan's strong physique makes them the best tonic for others. Just 1 bite can restore a certain amount of chakra and injuries. Because he was in Ghost Lantern City, the city lord Wu Wei used the heavenly prison technique. This sealing technique was very strong. Any ninja who tried to mobilize the chakra in his body would be burned all over his body. In serious cases, he would even be burned to death. In order to protect the young man, the 2 old men forcibly mobilized the chakra in their bodies. As a result, they were hit by the heavenly prison technique and the would release. Although they relied on the strong vitality of the Uzumaki clan to support them until now, they did not have much time left. Shiraishi stepped forward, a soft light condensed on his palm, pulled out the wooden thorns on the back of the pregnant woman, and asked, "Why are the Uzumaki clan imprisoned in Ghost Light City?" Faced with Shiraishi's question, the old man who still had a breath coughed violently and said, "After the demise of the kingdom of Whirlpool, enemies who peeked at the powerful physique of the Uzumaki clan have never stopped, and the city lord Wu Wei also tried to use our clan's physique to open the box of bliss. There are a large number of orphans of the Uzumaki clan in the Land of Grass, so it is not difficult for Wu Wei to find adult Uzumaki clan members." The 4 members of the Uzumaki clan in front of him were forcibly imprisoned by him. Now that Wu Wei was killed by a mysterious man, the Uzumaki clan finally saw the light of day. A powerful stream of mist condensed on Baishi's fingers, exuding billowing white mist and ice, and in the process, he forcibly cut off the seal of the heavenly prison technique. It would be extremely difficult to crack the heavenly prison technique from the inside out, but on the contrary, it would be very simple to destroy it from the outside. Similarly, after the frost on Shiraishi's fingers unlocked the heavenly prison seal on the red-haired boy, the 2 old men of the Uzumaki clan rejected Shiraishi's kindness. "We don't have much time left, so you should keep some chakra." In their mind, the Sand Ninja was a low-ranking force among the 5 major nations. Although they did not know why they appeared here, the 2 old men of the Uzumaki clan only hoped that this ninja could take away the siblings. "This little chakra is nothing to me." Shiraishi put his hands together and used medical ninjutsu to provide emergency treatment to the 2 old men. A large number of wooden thorns were pulled out. At the same time, Countless sandy silver formed fine metal needles and stitches were used to repair the injuries on the two old men. This level of chakra control, although they have been imprisoned in Ghost Lantern City for many years, the two old men have extensive knowledge after all. Shiraishi should be the top figure among the sand ninja, based on his ability to control sand-turned metal needles with his hands. The sand ninja appeared in Ghost Light City and went out of their way to rescue them. The two old men of the Uzumaki clan were not fools. They naturally understood each other's intentions and did not reject or resist them at all. It's not the same everywhere. At least this ninja doesn't seem to have much malicious intent, and he also spent so much effort to save himself and others. After the fatal injuries of the two old men were relieved, Shiraishi turned his attention to the woman of the Uzumaki clan in front of him. His injured cell nucleus was still several months old, and he was only missing the final mother's body. The woman in front of him was 3 months pregnant, so the opportunity was not good exactly. Thinking of the white stone with one hand pointing to the ground, surrounded by huge formations and runes. Countless fine needles made of sand and silver quickly penetrated into the woman's body, and the weak current was introduced to activate her body cells in an instant. The combination of metal needles and thunder cell activation, Shiraishi's move was too lofty, and it directly shocked the two old men of the Uzumaki clan. This kind of chakra control, this person's identity. Just when the two old men of the Uzumaki clan were frightened by Shiraishi's shocking methods, Shiraishi introduced the special cell nuclei that had been prepared into the body of the woman in front of him. The physique of the Uzumaki clan is truly astonishing. Even though they had one child, they could still maintain the survival of the two children after absorbing the nucleus. Unfortunately, this will greatly overdraw the vitality of the mother's body, especially when the child is born, which may cause huge losses to her body. Looking at the woman from the Uzumaki clan who had long since passed out, Shiraishi said in a tone that could not bear to refuse, "Come back to Sunagakure village with me. The country of grass will not treat you well if you stay here." Several members of the Uzumaki clan did not refuse Shiraishi's invitation. It was the best thing for them to escape from this hell-like place. Following Shiraishi out of the prison in Ghost Light City, the Kusanagi kingdom soon saw Shiraishi walking out with a few survivors, especially when they were members of the Uzumaki clan. Their expression suddenly changed. These ninjas who have just arrived in Kusanagi village. Reading www.ukanshu.net. When he saw several members of the Uzumaki clan, he planned to step forward and control them, but when he saw Shiraishi on the side, he did not dare to make any move. The grass ninja is very afraid of this sand ninja. There were only 3 Suna ninjas on site, and there were dozens of people in the grass ninja village. How could they be so taboo against the 3 Suna ninjas? What is this man's identity? Master Kazekage, your hat. Walking to Shiraishi's exclusive ship, Shiraishi signaled Shiraishi to take care of the 4 Uzumaki clan members, and then slowly put on the hat marked Kazekage. Looking at the man wearing a Fengiying bamboo hat, the old man said in disbelief, "Are you a Lord Alyosha?" Rumor has it that the new Kazekage of the Land of Wind is a young jounin racer. Could he be Rata? No wonder he has such strong sand control skills. Facing the old man's question, Shiraishi's face flashed with a trace of astonishment, and he quickly smiled and shook his head. "I'm the 5th generation Kazekage of Sunagakure village." Chapter 196. The Kingdom of Iron. Ghost Lantern City suffered drastic changes, and the entire Kingdom of Grass fell into chaos. The delegation led by Shiraishi had no choice but to leave the Kingdom of Grass and head towards the Kingdom of Iron. As for the 4 members of the Uzumaki clan who were taken away, although the Kusanagi wanted to stop them, the entire Kusakunin village was on their side and they were not sure they could keep the 5th Kazekage, so they were forced to acquiesce in the 5th Kazekage's actions. "May I have your name, Uzumaki?" Tomoki. Originally, during this trip to Ghost Light City, Shiraishi was mainly looking for the mother body of the Uzumaki clan, but when he saw Uzumaki Tomoki practicing basic ninjutsu alone, Shiraishi was observing from one side. This young man named Uzumaki Tomoki has very good throwing speed and physical reaction. Although he does not use many advanced ninjutsu, Uzumaki Tomoki is still very strict in his training. Uzumaki Tomoki's sister, a woman named Uzumaki Chikori, is currently in stable condition, and the 2 elders of the Uzumaki clan are taking careful care of her. Arashirakoa had reservations about Lord Kazekage taking in the 4 Uzumaki clan members. Everyone knew the connection between the Uzumaki clan and Konoha, and keeping these people by his side was tantamount to increasing the risk point. Even if they were to be taken in, the two Uzumaki clan elders should not be treated together. As the head of Sunagakure intelligence department, Iroquois Erashi would definitely resist such irresponsible behavior of his own Kazekage. The destruction of the Uzumaki clan is inseparable from certain forces in Konoha. The members of the Uzumaki clan who are really needed by Konoha have already been transported to Konoha village. On the contrary, the most orthodox Tomoki clan is not welcomed by Konoha. The kingdom of Uzumaki and the establishment of domestic ninja villages were all led by the Uzumaki clan. Uzumaki Tomoki is the most orthodox clan leader, not the Uzumaki Mito clan, and is a threat in the eyes of some Konoha people. Because the Uzumaki clan has strong vitality and is very good at using sealing techniques, in the eyes of Danzo and others, the Uzumaki clan who are not the Uzumaki Mito clan are actually suspected of controlling the seizure of the Ninetales. The Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan are distant relatives. They are both descendants of Ashura and inherit the blood of the Sage of Six Paths. Decades ago, there were friendly exchanges between Uzashio village and Konoha in the country of Uzumaki. Mito, a female ninja of Uzashio village, became the wife of Senju Hashirama, the leader of the Senju clan in Konoha Point during the Battle of the Valley of the End. In order to help Senju Hashirama obtain the Ninetales, Mito sealed the Ninetales in his body, becoming the first Jinchuriki of the Ninetales, and maximizing the power of the first Hokage's wooden style. From then on, Kyubi also became the property of Konoha Point when his destiny was about to come. One of the descendants of Mito's line, Uzumaki Kushina, was brought to Konoha and became the second Ninetales Jinchuriki Point. Since becoming the wife of the first Hokage, Uzumaki Mito has not been a pure member of the Uzumaki clan. Basically, he has been alienated from the Uzumaki country. Even after the Uzumaki country was destroyed, Uzumaki Mito was only related to members of his clan. The descendants of this line, rather than the entire Uzumaki clan. After a series of wars, the Uzumaki clan has withered to this point, which has something to do with Konoha's manipulation behind the scenes. Ordinary orphans of the Uzumaki clan may believe in Konoha, but Uzumaki Tomoki's family is completely different. They are very hostile to Konoha Point. Iroquois Erashi was naturally aware of the relationship, but as an intelligence chief, he still expressed his concerns out of instinct. You spend all day thinking about these dark things. I don't know why, but the current Shirogakiji is very disgusted when he sees Iroquois Erashi always thinking of some conspiracies and tricks, and can't help but laugh at him. If everyone lived in this world as innocently as you, there really would be no need to think about these things. Iroquois Erashi said back, unwilling to be outdone, and Shirogaki rolled his eyes angrily. Shirogakiji is optimistic and cheerful, while Iroquois Erashi is cautious and nuanced. The two have different work styles, so it is inevitable that there will be friction on some issues. Shiraishi also works hard to reconcile the relationship between the two. Just when Shiraishi was about to say something else, two old men from the Uzumaki clan walked out of the boat and walked towards Shiraishi's direction very respectfully. You two don't know what to call me. I am Naoto Uzumaki. This is my brother Naoto Uzumaki. The person in front of them is the 5th Kazekage, and behind him is the entire Sunagakure force. After asking other envoys on the ship that day, they learned that the Kazekage in front of them was a super strong man who defeated Konoha and established the new Sunagakure village. Facing such powerful people, the two old men naturally corrected their attitudes. What are your plans for the future of the Uzumaki clan? This is a subtext. Now that Feng Ying has rescued you, and I ask you about your future plans, you don't necessarily want to go back to the country of grass and continue to be bitten every day as a tonic, right? Just when the two elders of the Uzumaki clan were about to speak, Tomoki Uzumaki knelt down. Master Kazekage, the Uzumaki clan has long lost its past glory. At present, we only hope to continue the Uzumaki bloodline. So we sincerely ask Sunagakure village to take us in. Unexpectedly, Shiraishi expressed his stance first. He looked at the well-behaved young man in front of him, and the more he looked at him, the more satisfied he became. In that case, are you willing to become my disciple? As soon as Shiraishi opened his mouth, Shiraishi, Shirogakiji and others looked sideways, as Lord Kazekage actually wanted to accept a disciple. Except for Gaara, who had promised to take on a disciple in the future. Shiraishi had never taken on a disciple of his own, and he never expected that he would value the young master of the Uzumaki clan in front of him. I do. Uzumaki. Tomoki is a young man with outstanding talents. His powerful life force and abundant chakra give him a start that is far superior to his peers. Shiraishi took him by his side and began to provide him with the most basic guidance point. After leaving the country of grass, Shiraishi's entire delegation passed through the country of Taki and the country of frost. Every time they passed through these small countries, local envoys of a certain level would be sent to greet them. The envoy from the Kingdom of Frost mentioned the developments regarding Iwagakure in a chat with Shiraishi. Lord Tsuchikage has left the Kingdom of Frost 3 days ago, and you reading www.ukanshu.net should have arrived in the Kingdom of Iron by now. The 5-Kage conference is about to be held. Shiraishi, as the most leisurely Kazekage among them, sees the scenery of various countries along the way, guides Tomoki in his practice, and at the same time, collects several skill cards that have been wandering away. In the land of Iron, it is snowing heavily, and the weather is extremely cold. After arriving at the official palace of the Iron Kingdom, Shiraishi asked his envoys and the 4 Uzumaki clan members to settle in the residence, and then took Shiraishi and Shirogakiji directly to the meeting place of the 5 shadows, which was in the Iron Kingdom. Peak. It's so cold. The climate here is completely opposite to that of the Wind Country. Shirogakiji felt the biting cold, and his whole face stiffened, but he saw that Shiraishi was not affected at all, and the chakra heat on his body completely dissipated the snowflakes falling on him. I didn't expect that Lord Kazekage would arrive so early. Turning around, he saw Inoki, the 3rd Tsuchikage, and 2 guards walking up the steps. He did not expect to meet the young 5th Kazekage at this moment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197, 5 Shadows Gathering. Shiraishi and Noki met briefly in the Revelation Mountains, but Noki, as at Tsuchikage, was still deeply impressed by the newly emerged special jounin Kurogiri Shiraishi. In that ambush battle in the Enlightenment Mountains, if Shiraishi and his students hadn't performed brilliantly, Eluosha would have perished under his own arrangements during the joint Chunin examination. The trio of Hashinome who performed brilliantly were all personally taught by Shiraishi. This alone was enough for Inoki to take this new jounin seriously. Immediately afterwards, Shiraishi's outstanding performance on the battlefields of Konoha and Shirogakure made the whole world remember this rising star of the ninja world, until he became the Kazekage, and attended the 5-Kage conference on an equal footing with himself. Inoki chuckled, his body floated slightly, and he looked at Shiraishi in front of him. You are young and promising, contemporary Uchiha Madara. I'm Aoki Shiraishi, not Uchiha Madara. It's Aoki Shiraishi, determined to create a century of Sunagakure. Shiraishi's words on the occasion of the Kazekage's inauguration had already spread throughout the shinobi world. Regarding the determination and ambition of the young Kazekage, every village felt the ambition of Shinsagakure. Although the shadows of each village have not yet gathered, that Tsuchikage has already made up its mind to unite with Konoha to curb the further rise of Sunagakure. On the other hand, he also sent someone to send a letter to the 4th Mizukage, hoping that the young Kage would take his opinion seriously. Yes, Shiraishi looked at that Tsuchikage opposite with a smile. As the two were fighting each other's momentum in midair, that Tsuchikage coughed lightly and said, young people are getting more and more powerful now, haha. The 2 shadows looked at each other for a moment, and that Tsuchikage made a gesture to let the Kazekage go in first, while the lowest beside him was very respectful and guarded his farther side. The convening of the 5-Kage conference was originally scheduled for today. Shiraishi, Shiraishi, and Shirogakiji stayed in the main hall to recuperate. In addition to Shiraishi, the 3 Tsuchikages were also resting in another area. Today's 5-Kage conference is actually an attempt by Konoha to isolate Sunagakure. Among the 3 cages of Tsukikage, Mizukage, and Reikage, Tsukikage is the most cunning. Mizukage and Reikage are both new cage, and their personalities are different. The mode of thinking is unknown. However, judging from his current series of actions in Shirogakure village, the 5th Mizukage doesn't feel like a normal cage of one village. In terms of dealing with him, he looks more like a time bomb. According to the information provided by Zigguishin Blowfish Demon, Shirogakure village does not seem to be very interested in this 5-cage conference. However, as the head of the intelligence department, Zigguishin Blowfish Demon does not even know who the members of the Mizukage Guard are, which makes people wonder. Puzzled. It seems that the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Demon is about to lose power, and there is no specific intelligence news coming from Heiau, the Ghost Lamp. It can be expected that the internal situation in Shirogakure will become even more chaotic. The Reikage's attitude is more subtle. Although he is currently Sunagakure's best natural ally, after experiencing the battle with Konoha South, Kumogakure's vitality has been greatly damaged, and the Reikage's considerations may not be as clear as before. Sunagakure's current strength is still in a state of inconsistency. Although he is guarded by himself, currently, apart from recruiting Uzumaki Tomoki himself, there is no one with outstanding talent in the next generation of Jounin. In contrast, many rookie ninjas have appeared in other ninja villages. Therefore, Sunagakure village needs to further cultivate more outstanding ninjas of the next generation. Uzumaki Tomoki's sister, Uzumaki Tomoki, has a specially cultivated immortal human cell nucleus in her body. It is the only nucleus that has been successfully fused between the Hyuga family and Kaguya's bloodline. Adding her own bloodline, it is enough to be a trump card. In addition, there is the child Ungara and Maki's belly. These 3 children Shiraishi can cultivate into the Sennin of Sunagakure village. Mizukage is here. At the entrance of the main hall, a young man with green hair and purple eyes appeared. There was a skull like a suture mark under his left eye. He was holding a stick-like weapon with a hook on the front, and decorated with green flowers. The 4th Mizukage Yagura appeared at the same time, accompanied by 2 Anbu guards. Although he was wearing a mask, he also showed an amazing aura. Seeing Shiraishi and Inoki, Yagura nodded and said hello. The whole process was very indifferent, as if he didn't care whether the shadows from other villages arrived. Inoki drank tea and squinted at Mizukage like this. He couldn't help but secretly laugh at Shirogakure. Even such a little kid could become the shadow of a village. Yagura's state is very strange. Not only Shiraishi, but also Tsukikage and Inoki also noticed that something was wrong. However, both cages are spiritual figures. If there is anything special about Mizukage and even being controlled by others, that would be perfect. It can be used as a reason to cause civil strife in Shirogakure in the future. Shiraishi and Inoki looked at each other, each understanding the situation, and saying nothing. In fact, when Shiraishi turned his attention away from Yagura, he noticed the Anbu next to Yagura, and Shiraishi felt a very strange feeling from them. As if aware of Shiraishi's gaze, one of them asked. Anbu's eyes was very solemn. He had already been transformed through the box of bliss. Logically speaking, Black Mist Shiraishi could not detect his own existence, but his look just now seemed to be able to see through him. Suddenly, a huge ray of light shone outside the main hall, and 3 lightning-like figures were seen, stepping into the main hall at extremely fast speeds. AI, the 4th generation Reikage, appeared forcefully at extremely fast speeds. He has dark skin, light yellow hair, a very strong build, wears a white cloak, and has a green shuriken style symbol tattooed on his shoulders. Wearing a wide belt and thick armor, he has a competitive and impulsive personality. His whole body is protected by the Thunder Shield, and his speed and defense are both strong. His hand-to-hand combat skills are currently the strongest in U9 village, and he often wins with speed in battles. As soon as AI appeared, Reading www.ukanshu.net set its target on Aoki Shiraishi, looked at it with sharp eyes, and then sat very proudly on one side, waiting for the arrival of the last one. 2 slightly darker skinned ninjas beside Reikage. Also has very amazing chakra explosive power, as if it was a deliberate arrangement. Just after the 4 village shadows arrived, outside the entire hall, Namake's Minato, the 4th Hokage representing Konoha, and Hatake Kakashi and Uchiha Shisu, who served as the Hokage's bodyguards, arrived. It's interesting I deliberately brought the most popular genius of the Uchiha clan with me. Is it to show that Konoha, under the leadership of Namikaze Minato, will treat everyone equally without sectarian prejudice? Hokage-sama, you really know how to stage things. Let us wait until now. The fourth Raikage said coldly, but Minato Namikaze didn't care, and showed a hearty smile. Sorry, I'm late. Haha. As soon as he finished speaking, Namikaze Minato's eyes met those of Aoki Shiraishi. Lord Kazekage, we meet again. Facing Namikaze Minato's eyes, Shiraishi drank a cup of hot tea and said calmly, yes, we meet again, Hokage-sama. Chapter 198. Films, please take a seat. Shortly after Minato Namikaze arrived, Mifune, the leader of the Iron Country's samurai group, slowly entered the hall. It has to be said that Mifune is a samurai, and he actually practices taijutsu similar to the swordsmanship style. His swordsmanship is quite famous in the ninja world, and he can lead the Iron Kingdom to obtain a permanent neutral status, which shows that he has excellent strength. In the huge conference room, hats representing the 5 villages were placed in 5 directions. The 5th Kazekage Aoki Shiraishi, the 4th Mizukage Gota Chibana Yagura, the 3rd Tsuchikage Inoki Yuto, the 4th Raikage Ai, and the 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. Each sat down, plus each brought 2 guards and 3 ships, a total of 16 people. The atmosphere seemed extremely tense for a while. The Third Ninja World War had just ended. Except for Sunagakure and Kumogakure, Kirigakure, and Iwagakure, no large-scale wars had broken out among the other villages. All less armed conflict. Among them, Konoha had conflicts with all 4 of the above-mentioned ninja villages, but Namikaze Minato was very well educated. After he and Mifune looked at each other, the latter stepped forward, coughed a few times and spoke. In fact, according to Lord Hokage's request, the main purpose of this 5 Shadow Conference is to establish a post-war communication mechanism, so that the 5 major villages can communicate in a timely and effective manner when facing various problems and difficulties. Communication mechanism. Listening to Mifune's words, the shadows in each village said nothing, quietly waiting for Mifune's narration point. But soon the Raikage lost patience, because after Mifune said a lot of empty nonsense, the grumpy Kumogakure leader banged the table. So what do you want to do, Namikaze? Minato interrupted and continued what Mifune meant. I hope that the 5 major ninja villages can unite to establish peace in the ninja world. How? To unite, let's disarmament together, reduce the conventional ninjutsu of ninjas, and establish an elite model. Namikaze. Minato's words made Tsuchikage Inoki narrow his eyes. Then the Hokage means how to carry out disarmament. All parties specify a number within a reasonable range for disarmament. Currently, among the 5 major ninja villages, Kirigakure and Konoha have the smallest number of standing ninjas. The former is currently caught in civil strife, and coupled with its own cruel graduation system, the number of Kirigakure ninjas has always remained at a very low range. The number of resident ninjas in the entire Kirigakure village is just over 10,000, but Yagura, the Mizukage, can actually mobilize around 2,000 ninjas, making him the bottom of the 5 major ninja villages. As for Konoha, the damage caused by the Third Ninja World War was too serious and the personnel losses were huge. Currently, there are only about 15,000 standing ninjas left. However, Konoha itself was preparing to transform after the war. It would change the Genin graduation assessment method during the Ninja World War, from purely testing only physical skills to a point where all aspects needed to be improved. In other words, there is no need to recruit so many cannon fodder, and it should be replaced by elite education. The number of ninjas in Iwagakure and Kumogakure is roughly the same, both numbering around 20,000. Namikaze Minato's proposal was really aimed at the power, which was none other than Sunagakure, the biggest winner in the Great Ninja War. Currently, the number of resident ninjas in Sunagakure is about 20,000, which is the same as Kumogakure Iwagakure. However, under the division of the 6 campuses established by Shiraishi, the number of genin graduated every year is in a very scary range. According to Konoha's calculations, the actual number of troops currently controlled by Sunagakure is around 40,000, making him the strongest presence in the 5 great ninja villages. Because of this, Namikaze Minato decided to unite with the other 3 ninja villages to demand disarmament against Sunagakure at the 5 Kage conference. In fact, it was also a suppression of the expansion of Sunagakure's power after these words. The scene fell into silence, and even the grumpy Reikage focused on the Kazekage. Hokage-sama, your suggestion is very good, but the demobilized ninjas need to have enough funds to support them to return to normal life. Has Konoha taken this into consideration? This, without waiting for Minato Namikaze to speak, Shiraishi said to himself, the core of a ninja's daily living expenses is the task compensation system. Ninjas do not engage in production and labor. Once they are idle at home, huge conflicts will occur, and even major disasters will occur. Rebellion on a large scale will bring huge trouble to all countries. No one wants tens of thousands of ninja rebels running around, right? Tens of thousands of ninja rebels. On the surface, Shiraishi's words seem to be worried about the lives of these ninjas who have been laid off, but they are actually threatening Konoha. If Konoha dares to use a standard one-size-fits-all approach to disarmament issues, then Shiraishi plans to throw these so-called rebel ninja troops into the fire country, leaving Konoha busy killing rebellious nin all day long. Point now the amount of tasks controlled by Sunagakure village is no less than that of Konoha. Now that the number of ninjas is reduced, how can we maintain Sunagakure's huge financial expenses? Anoki said coldly, it is true that one size does not fit all. The actual situation of each village is different. That is why this Five Shadows conference is held. I hope that all parties can obtain an acceptable range of conditions. As soon as Tsuchikage spoke, Namikaze Minato's face muscles inadvertently trembled. He originally imagined that Iwa Ninja should be in step with Konoha on this issue, and both Shirogakure and Shirogakure would be happy to see Sunagakure weakened. In fact, the other three shadows did not take the initiative to express their stance, or even intended to support themselves. The Five Shadows conference seemed to be heading out of control from the beginning. Maybe I underestimated the influence of each village. How to disarmament is a long-term matter, but I think we may simplify complex things. The fourth Raikage finally expressed his stance at this time. Looking at the several cages present and their respective guards, there are 5 cages and 10 jounin level guards, totaling 15 people. How about we play a special wrestling game in the Kingdom of Iron? A game of defense. I saw the fourth Raikage like a lion, looking at the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato with fighting spirit. The purest challenge game. The loser is disqualified from challenging again. The village with the most successes in the challenge will be this. Decide how to divide the disarmament program. It makes no sense. How can it be such a childish thing? Anoki was the first to object. Several of the actors present were all of an older age. How could he, an old guy, compete with them in a ring defense game? How funny. I think it's good. Shiraishi was the first to agree with Raikage's proposal. Shirogakure deliberately mentioned this plan, which was actually a hint to secretly form an alliance with Sunagakure. Shiraishi knew it in his heart. Interesting. This so-called defense game. Mizukage Yagira, who had been silent before, showed a cold smile that was inappropriate for his age, but this also meant that Shirogakure also agreed. Sunagakure, Shirogakure, and Shirogakure all agreed one after another. Namikaze Minato on Konoha saw that the situation was not right, so he had no choice but to accept the challenge. Since Lord Raikage has proposed this plan, let the Kumo ninja send out one person to defend the battle first. As for the battle venue, let's use the area outside on the peak of the Iron Kingdom as the battle venue. Since Kumo Hidden proposed this plan, let Kumo Hidden be the first to send someone to the scene. The fourth generation Raikage Iwashu waved his hand. Samae, it's up to you. Yes. As the Raikage spoke, a beauty with short yellow hair beside Ai slowly walked out. She had blue-green pupils and held a small sword in her hand. She turned into an afterimage of lightning and disappeared into the meeting hall. Under the flying snow, Shirogakure Jounin Samu stood proudly on the mountain peak, staring coldly at the area below, waiting for the challenger to appear. Just when Shiraishi was about to stand up, Shiraishi whispered in his ear, Master Kazekage, be sure not to expose too many new techniques in the battle later. I see. The moment they walked out of the conference room, Shiraishi and Namikaze Minato looked at each other, and a fighting spirit spread from the air on the towering peak. With the sky full of snow, Shiraishi discovered that, although this place was suitable as a battle area, there seemed to be no audience seats. Thinking of this, Shiraishi grabbed it with one hand, and the surrounding metal magnetic escape gradually condensed into 16 huge seats suspended in midair. Everyone, Ukanshu www.ukanshu.net, please take a seat. Surrounded by the power of mind, the white stone floats very lightly and rises to sit on the suspended sand silver seat. It is a unique magnetic escape application that can be maintained for 12 hours without the need for a caster. In an instant, Minato and Namikaze appeared in the floating position. Quickly then blinking, many jounin present showed horrified looks. They didn't even see when Minato Namikaze left the flying thunder god style on Shiraishi magnetic release. Technical point: this is gold glitter. While Shiraishi's eyes were tightly locked with the power of his round pupils, one thing was very certain. Namikaze Minato used the second stage flying thunder god, which is why there was such an amazing teleportation technique. Point: after Namikaze Minato sat down, Inoki controlled himself to levitate and sit on one side. At this time, the fourth Raikage and the fourth Mizukage also sat down. Point: the 5 shadows each sat cross-legged. At the same time, the guard jounin below also stepped forward. In the end, only one person was left, and did not step forward, but focused on Samae on the peak. It's him who dares to challenge Samae. Chapter 199. I choose to face it. After 2 years of dormancy, the explosion hunter was stronger than before. During the leap, a huge explosion of light was produced from the surrounding rocks, which turned into thunder and struck at Shirogakure jounin Samu. It's this Iwagakure's explosive escape. Cheng Yuanji had had several combat encounters with explosive escape hunters on the battlefield of the Apocalypse Mountains, and he also had some understanding of explosive escape combat styles. Why is this guy so unrestrained in fighting? The attack method of explosive escape is more fierce and crazy than in the past. As if he has taken some medicine. You will take action later. The puppet technique has a strong and long-lasting ability in such situations. As an intelligence officer, Shiraishi analyzed the situation on the battlefield and hoped that Shirogakiji might appear early to suppress other village jounins. The human puppets of the corpse vein are much stronger than ordinary puppets. Their bones are tough and explosive, and coupled with the powerful auxiliary bonus given by the dragon vein, Shirogakiji is at the forefront of the jounin on site. Point: Samu of Shirogakure had already collected information about explosive escape hunting. Although explosive escape was powerful, it was still a variation of earth escape. Since it was earth escape, it was easy to handle. Point: the sword flashed, and the arc of electricity danced, as if countless silver snakes were surrounding Samu, which was truly gorgeous. Samu, who was born in Shirogakure, was already proficient in thunder release ninjutsu. Therefore, he aimed at the explosive release hunter, and attacked the explosive release hunter with Itachi at a very fast speed. However, seeing the explosive release hunter's cold eyes, he quickly grabbed the mud on the ground. Stone. During the process of chewing, countless small stones were shot out. Point: boom. A huge explosion exploded in front of Samae's eyes, and in the face of the terrifying earth escape impact and explosion of the explosion hunter, it turned into billowing light and wreaked havoc. Point: opening up a large-scale cooperative combat style. Samae's expression changed drastically. He used the thunder escape to stimulate cell relations, although his body was keen to avoid it. During the rapid dance of the sword in his hand, a silver snake-like light flashed in midair. The earth release ninja faced the thunder release ninja. Some jounin at the scene did not understand Iwagakure's thoughts at all, but judging from the attack method of the explosive release hunter, it seemed that it was not as simple as it seemed. I'm afraid this explosive escape is not a simple earth escape ninja, right? Shiraishi's words made Inoki raise his eyebrows. Did Kazekage-sama see anything? Chakra properties combined with some magic. This fifth Kazekage was indeed difficult to deal with. After just a few rounds of fighting, he noticed the subtle differences in the explosive escape. Point: Konoha's Namikaze Minato also discovered this problem. He had killed countless Iwagakure at Kanakunkyo. Naturally, he had fought against the blast troops and had a general understanding of their combat style. Point: the same is true for Samae. With such an obviously unfavorable situation, Explosion Hunter must be prepared. Unless his brain is broken. Cloud flow flying blade. The sword's light flashed, seeming to ignite the light in the air. Samai attacked Explosion Hunter with a single point at a very fast speed, only to see the latter condense a huge dazzling light with one hand. The moment the explosion sounded, Samai used the thunder substitute to dodge the attack, but he saw the explosive escape hunter showing a ferocious smile. He put his hands together, and a huge earth escape giant suddenly rose from the ground. What? When the earth escape giant turned into a huge mudslide, trapping Sammy inside, and during the fluctuation of the huge formation talisman produced under the blast escape hunter's feet, an electric light pierced out of the earth giant, trying to cut the giant apart. In the process of hunting the debris flow giant with electric light blasting, Samai turned into a soaring current wave. At this time, when the explosive escape hunter once again drove the debris flow giant to attack, Samai accidentally discovered that his current seemed to be able to cut off the giant in front of him. The electro-optical blade that exploded at the beginning was still there, but the clay giant's defense actually ignored the attribute of thunder escape that restrained earth escape. What happened? During the explosion, Samai used thunder clones and substitute techniques to escape, but was eventually affected by the strong explosion. At this time, Explosive Hunter's single palm turned into a sword and attacked ferociously. Samai was knocked away by the palm, vomiting blood, and soon lost the qualification to defend the ring. Earth escape made of special clay. While muttering to himself, Shiraishi revealed the secret of the explosion release hunter. Although his ability is similar to Inoki's, and he is proficient in the combination of 3 chakra attribute combinations, his special earth release style has obvious opposition to the thunder release style ninja's restraint effect. Explosive escape hunting is a trump card cultivated by Iwagakure to deal with Kumogakure. The third Kazekage had enough of Kumogakure using their thunder release ninja taijutsu to wreak havoc on Iwagakure every time, so he personally developed this kind of clay flow suitable for the blast release troops. This kind of special clay requires the special craftsmanship of Iwagakure village. In the future, after Deidara leaves Iwagakure village, the clay used for explosive escape will not be the original Iwagakure village version. Seeing that Samai was injured, the fourth Raikage's expression was not good looking. At this time, he saw a figure suddenly rush into the ring. Hatake Kakashi, a jounin from Konoha village, faced off against the Bakyudashiri, Konoha village. Hatake Kakashi, white Fang's son, remember, he is also a thunder release ninja. When the information was unknown, Hatake Kakashi was very confident against the blast release hunter who had counter restraint against the thunder release ninja. As soon as he finished speaking, Kakashi Hatake dodged. The moment the silver knife in his hand was stabbed, the explosion hunter blasted out a violent wave of energy. Facing the silver-haired kid in front of him, the explosive hunter's palm attacks became more and more fierce, but Kakashi was faster, and he could quickly read the next move of the explosive hunter almost all the time and counter-attack. This kind of reaction, that was beyond ordinary people's reaction, shocked several Kage present. Soon, the masked guard on Mizukage's side said coldly, "It's the Sharingan. Sharingan 1. Eye of the silver-haired Kakashi Hatake has already been replaced with the Uchiha clan's unique Sharingan Eye." During the rotation of the Scholar Magatama, Kakashi continued to read all the movements of the explosion hunter. Witnessing Lin's death, Kakashi's second Magatama Sharingan suddenly evolved into a third Magatama. Under strong emotional stimulation, although he was distressed by the constant loss of chakra by the Sharingan, he was able to attack and defend at high speed in a short period of time. He is extremely advantageous, but what Kakashi didn't know was that in fact, when Lin died, his Sharingan evolved directly into the main Gekyo Sharingan, but he was already unconscious at the time, and was not aware of the changes in his eyes. The only person who truly knows about this matter is the manipulator behind the scenes, Uchiha Obito. Kakashi's battle ended quickly. He used the thunder release Raikiri, which was more powerful than Samu. He cut through the special clay explosion giant at a very fierce speed, and defeated the explosion release hunter with one blow. It appears to be Raikiri, but in fact, during the process of performing the technique, Kakashi also combined the water type and the fire type. With a series of fancy strikes, the huge clay giant was integrated into the clay giant with the water type. In the process of solidification with the fire type, the giant clay giant was destroyed. Clay giant structure point. Then he used Drakery to defeat the enemy with one blow. It was obvious that during the battle with Sami just now, Kakashi collected enough intelligence to directly defeat the explosion hunter. Just as the explosion hunter was falling, Shirogakiji appeared on the battle stage at some point. Countless strange chakra lines danced in his hands and turned into a terrifying hurricane attack point. As Shirogakiji, who has been deeply taught by Chiyo, he will naturally not miss the opportunity to attack White Fang's son. Yu reading www.ukanshu.net. So he went straight onto the stage to face Kakashi Hatake, son of the White Fang. Your opponent is me. Sensing the appearance of Shirogakiji, Anoka's eyes showed a trace of confusion. This is Sunagakure's puppet technique, but why did the caster do it himself? Is Sunagakure currently the commander of the ninja class, Shirogakiji? Kakashi's information naturally includes several top experts among the Sunagakure jounin. Among them, the 5th Kazekage's partner, Shirogakiji, who is known as the genius puppet master of the new era, is one of several top experts in Sunagakure. The most difficult person. Thinking of this, Kakashi quickly formed a seal, fire release, fireball technique. A huge fireball spurted out, but Shirogakiji's fingers intertwined, and countless chakra lines turned into sharp tangential attacks, splitting the huge fireball in front of him into pieces in an instant. Without releasing the puppets to fight, he directly faced off against Kakashi Hatake, a top-notch melee fighter. What a stupid act. This guy really chose to face it. Chapter 200, Catching Up with Your Back. The castle wall in the darkness looked particularly strange and strange. As countless chakra lines crisscrossed, a huge storm rolled up on the entire ground. Countless chakra lines pierced out from all directions and headed towards Kakashi. Faced with numerous thin line attacks, Kakashi, who had just finished a set of combined ninjutsu, was very patient in fighting due to severe chakra loss. However, the speed of these chakra lines controlled by Shirogakiji became faster and faster, and the frequency of attack speed also increased higher and higher. As the squad leader of the Sunagakure jounin class, Shirogakiji has always been considered to be able to hold this important position because of Shiraishi's relationship with his junior classmate. Many people often regard him as a pure puppet master. In fact, as a being who was able to partner with Shiraishi and Maki, Shirogakiji's own strength is also very strong. The offense and changes of the chakra line show a different style in his hands. Although Kakashi was very good in taijutsu, he found it difficult to find a single flaw. To get close to Shirogakiji's impenetrable high-speed chakra line attack, fire, release, fire dragon flame bullet, a straight line fireball attack on the spot, cannot break Shirogakiji's chakra line, so use multi-angle fire escape techniques such as fire dragon flame bombs to attack point. After a period of practice and training, Kakashi now masters a large number of various techniques. Although there are not as many as in the copy ninja period, he has begun to show his style. The fire dragon's flame bombs turned into 6 directions in total, attacking Shirogakiji from multiple angles. However, at this time, a clear current surged, and the chakra lines around Shirogakiji's body turned into countless filaments, circling, and combined with the water attribute chakra to form a brand new one. Water silk. It is rumored that Sunagakure's puppet army's current puppet control technique is based on this new water attribute chakra line. The 4th Kazekage was a little curious as he looked at the silver water threads on Shirogakiji's hand. Compared with the previous chakra threads that had no attributes, this kind of water threads attracted a lot of interest from several cage points. Sunagakure's puppets are already unique in the ninja world, and now in the process of puppet development, many special new technologies have been shown. Regarding this matter, Shiraishi is not taboo. This way, the accuracy of puppet control will be higher, but not every puppet master has this kind of water attribute. Chakra line. After all, not every jounin can develop water attribute chakra. Of water, silk chakra thread is a new way of controlling puppets currently used by Sunagakure's puppet troops. Compared with traditional chakra threads that incorporate water attributes are stronger and more difficult to deal with. When Shiraishi's water attribute split body Ghost Light encountered a mysterious attacker at the Ghost Light ruins, He also mastered the latest water silk technology of Sunagakure's puppet army, but it was much worse than Shirogakiji. This is why Shiraishi attaches great importance to the relationship with the ninja school in Kusuno country, because ninjas born here can better integrate the water attribute chakra lines. Shiroyuanshi was dressed in silver and white clothes. As the water threads in his hands continued to dance, they actually intersected with the impact of these fire dragon flame bullets. In the shattered silver brilliance, Cheng Yuanxi pointed a single finger with both hands, and the six-sided Lihuang mirror suddenly appeared. The Lihuang mirror automatically followed Shirogakiji, forming a special perception field. At this time, a silver light flashed, and Kakashi Hatake held a long sword, and launched a fierce offensive against Shirogakiji. As a series of explosions sounded, Shirogakiji's palms were surrounded by water threads, forming special chakra gloves. He clamped Kakashi Hatake's sword with one finger, and a stalemate appeared between the two sides. This idiot has exposed too many new abilities. Erish's face was ugly. He didn't expect Shirogakiji to have such a strong desire to fight, that he would even take action himself, giving up the traditional puppet fighting method, and fighting Kakashi with water silk. In ninja combat, the more information you collect, the better. If Shirogakiji's close-range water silk ability is not exposed, then in future battles, ninjas like Kakashi are likely to lose their lives due to this lack of information. But through this battle, almost all of Cheng Yuanxi's methods were exposed, and this guy simply couldn't communicate normally. Surrounded by the water, Cheng Yuanxi raised one hand, and turned his feet gently on the ground. With a unique rhythm, the water threads turned into a terrifying torrent that poured out all over the sky and exploded. Water escape explosion. The combination of Shiraishi's steam explosion and his own water thread chakra produced a miraculous effect in an instant. Under the impact of high temperature water mist, Kakashi's Sharingan was temporarily unable to distinguish the process, and a huge water thread shot out, instantly piercing his shoulder. After a successful blow, Kakashi turned pale and took a few steps back. He was finally severely wounded by Shirogakiji and exited the fighting stage. The winner sets his sights on the high blank stone. Although you, stone, have walked further than us, I will work harder to catch up with you so that you will not walk alone. This guy showed mercy. If it were Eriko or Erishi, then Mizumi would have directly disabled one of Kakashi's hands just now, instead of defeating him so lightly. However, Kakashi is not in good condition either. His fighting spirit and all aspects of his situation seem to be very decadent. This is completely different from the Kakashi Shiraishi saw for the first time. When Minato Namikaze saw the lost Kakashi walking down, he wanted to go up and comfort him, but couldn't say anything. 2 battles in a row had caused a huge loss in his Sharingan, but it was more because his own darkness had not been truly overcome. Is this high temperature explosion method a secret technique of the Ghost Lantern clan? Namikaze, Minato, who had returned to his normal state, looked at Shirogakiji's technique with curiosity and pretended to be crazy when he asked. The atmosphere at the scene became extremely depressing for a while. This 4th generation Hokage seemed harmless and even a bit stupid, but the question he asked was the most sensitive issue for Sunagakure and Shirogakure. No, it's a technique created by Cheng Yuanxi. Shiraishi directly rejected this hypothesis. Steam explosion is indeed a skill on the skill card, and has nothing to do with Shiragakure's secret technique of the Oniden clan. As the Hokage, Minato was stunned for a moment. He never thought that Shiraishi would veto this statement, and the Mizukage didn't seem to care about his appearance. Naruto and Kazekage secretly clashed. Mizukage Yagura seemed to have nothing to do with him, and still watched the game with an indifferent expression. However, after Shirogakiji defeated Hatake Kakashi, a guard next to Mizukage jumped up, embarking on the battlefield. Shirogakure, jounin zhuu, please give me some advice. He gently took off his mask to reveal a beautiful face, but as soon as the Shirogakure took action, a huge water storm hit him. The water formation wall instantly formed at the feet of Cheng Yuanxi, turning into a terrifying torrent of raging waves and attacking crazily. As the water threads in Cheng Yuanxi's hands surrounded him, he tried to block the water escape attack, but at this moment, a huge chill hit him. You reading www.ukanshu.net. No, this is not water escape. In an instant, the water formation wall quickly turned into a huge ice mist, and at the same time, countless ice and snow mirrors appeared on the field. It's the ice escape blood successor. This is ZHUU Jounin. According to Sunagakure's intelligence, he is an ice escape blood successor ninja. He was once the leader of Shiragakure's assassination team, and was called the Snow Witch by Shiragakure's companions. The ice escape ninja has a huge restraint effect on Shirogakiji's water silk technique, but Shirogakiji is not unprepared. The water threads were affected by the surrounding cold current, and quickly turned into ordinary chakra threads. At the same time, 6 Lihuan mirrors formed a defensive array, blocking ZHUU's progress. A scroll was opened, and Chengyu finally changed to the traditional puppet master combat mode. However, when the puppet in the scroll appeared on the field, ZHUU's expression changed drastically. How dare you make him a puppet? In an instant, the cold current of ice and snow exploded wildly. Chengyu and Si took a few steps back, and found that ZHUU's murderous intent in front of him was getting stronger and stronger. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.